people. All right, yo. All right, YouTube, what's good, everybody? We're now live. Welcome back to another episode of the Locker Room. We put Bolu in the pack. Yada 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 yada. We can continue whatever conversation we were having before. This space was started before the YouTube stuff because I had like software issues, but we're back. We're here. We're loud and proud. If everyone who is listening can make sure to retweet the spaces out, it really helps us grow because this is not a PG spaces. It's kind of hard to like have a lot of people rock with something that's not PG, but we trying to keep things 100. So retweet all that stuff, rock with us, and also pop in for the live chat. It's gonna be a lot of more clippable moments from this as well. But yeah, I'm gonna unmute and we can get back to regular conversation.
I like to pop in that as everybody can tell,
Yeah, and I
I
think the
got a
other
new
reason the
phone.
media hates OKC is because they stole the team from Seattle, and old head NBA people have
Oh
like
yeah,
never forgiven the Bennett clan for like stealing the Sonics the way they stole it. So that's a big part of why the media hates OKC as well.
I think that's a great point because Seattle over the last 40 years has a huge sort of underground culture. Like Jamal Crawford and Zach Levine and them, like they all come from Nate Robinson. Seattle got some dope ass players, and that team was, that team won a chip in '79, I think.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. They took the banners too. Like they didn't. They took the banners, bro. Like when you look at the Chesapeake Arena, you look up, they got the Sonics banners up there, and it's just hella disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the other thing is the Bennett's not only traded Harden, but they traded Harden over $8 million, and I mean, you just can't respect that, man.
I think what these small market teams do bad, which is what a team like Utah, who is kind of a small market, doesn't do, is that when these teams miss on picks, like they miss so bad, like they're out the
Mm.
league or off the team in like 2 years, right? Like what Utah does is feel like they draft dudes, they pick dudes up and they're impactful. Like Georges Niang ended up being an impactful player. Russell Nielsen, an impactful player. Like you don't just draft somebody and they're like, oh, he's not who we thought he was supposed to be, so he's out the league or he's not gonna get paid or he's not like I think the Suns are a good example. Dragon Bender, Marquise Chris, Josh Jackson, like
Oh
these
my
dudes,
goodness, so many bad picks. Oh,
and they didn't turn them into anything. They didn't give them bench roles. Alex Len, like they didn't give them bench roles. They didn't turn them into anything. It was just like, boom, you're off the team. You're not what we wanted to be. You're not who we projected you to be in the lottery. It's like, why don't you just be like, oh, so since we know you're not that, why don't we try and make you this? And I think a team like Utah does that like super well.
I agree, Dylan. There's a lot of teams like that in the league, unfortunately.
And it's unfair
Hey,
to
yo, I
these
think I heard
dudes
like
too.
half of what Phoenix said before he left. But yeah, man, Joe is the real deal when it comes to his basketball knowledge, man. Like, as far as like being a Bulls fan, man, my knowledge only goes so far. So having people that actually saw Jordan play and win, man, that means a lot. But yeah, me and Joe gonna talk off here. We'll see what's happening in the future.
Yeah, before Jay cut me off, and I don't know if you can even hear me because this shit's kind of fucked up. But I got a new phone, so if I sound different or I sound better, that's a good thing. So that means I'll actually be audible in the locker room now, so that's cool.
W.
Because I think
I'm
for like a
sorry. I
solid
don't
two
know
weeks
how
there,
many of y'all are watching this Patriots game right now, but N'Keal
That's a
Harry
lot,
is
man.
the dumbest motherfucker.
All right, so two things here.
I'm definitely
Joe,
watching the Pistons game.
Joe, real quick, Joe, your microphone is giving off a feedback. We can actually hear like your TV and all that stuff. So if you could stay muted when you're not talking, that would be helpful. I'm sorry to do it that way, but it kind of drowned out the whole space. And number two, Edward, I'm not gonna give you a tech because you don't know, but we are talking basketball. So try to keep it basketball related. Now, part of that is because I'm a super football casual, but I would love to keep this rooted in basketball. That's just me. So I'm not gonna give you a tech. I'm gonna give you a warning for that. But let's get back to hoops.
Before we get into some other shit, I'm gonna give one more shout out to Rising and Aussie, or otherwise known as Booker World. They're talking about making a Sun Space. I'm trying to get them together with Who Spaces, but I guess we'll see how
Oh,
that goes.
please
But
do. Please,
they're
please
gonna they're
make the
gonna be
Sun
running a
Space.
Sun Space, so that should be
I'm
fun.
with that. Yeah, that's
So if
fine.
there's any, and Shaq too. Shakur is going to be involved as well. So, but if there's any Suns fans in here
That's
that's
a good
interested
group.
in that, you should
It's a
give
really
a
good group.
rising.
Hey,
It should be
real
fire.
quick, while we're giving out shout outs, I see my boy JP is in the building. Shout out JP. You got a podcast, Dunk Tales. Go check that out on Spotify. All platforms, make sure you downloading it because that helps out the creators. Again, man, that's big. Also, another heads up, we got a full roster of people up on stage, so we'll be trying to cycle out people every now and then, but if we can't, tap into the YouTube live chat that just went live. So for sure, pull up and all that stuff, and make sure to tap in. If you have comments, you can post it in the YouTube chat, and I'll make your voice heard as we have organic conversation. But we can get back to having that
Gifted,
conversation. Go ahead.
gifted. Put me down at listener.
I think we have enough room now, but okay.
No,
We can
go
still
ahead and do it so that way someone else gets a chance to talk.
bet. We do
So,
appreciate that. We do appreciate that.
so I was thinking about something earlier. I saw somebody posted their all defensive team so far, right? And it was pretty ass. No offense to him.
It was
But
racism, is what it was.
yeah. I guess you could say that. I mean, I don't know if I'd
That's
go
not your
that
place.
far, but
That's
well,
not your
they
place to say
they
that,
put
man.
Jokic on there, so I mean, it depends on how you feel about that. But yeah, it was pretty fucking terrible. But I was thinking, right? I was like, yo, maybe I'll make my own, right? But I was thinking about like the defensive guard depth in the NBA right now, and I was like, that's kind of hard actually, because you think about Lonzo, Caruso, DeJounte, Thibault, Marcus Smart. Um, like there's so many good defensive guards. Like I'm glad I'm not one of those people that have to vote
It's
for that
actually kind of
award right
hard
now.
this year, yeah.
A few years
Facts.
ago, it's pretty easy because guards didn't really play defense. But yeah, I'm glad I'm not the person that has to vote for one of those.
That is a tough list this year, boy. I want to say Lonzo Ball is a lock. I want to say
Troll.
Caruso is also a
Caruso's
lock.
definitely a lock. I think he might be
Caruso's a
the
lock, but Lonzo's not a lock.
Caruso's
I
Wait,
don't
a
He's
think.
not a
lock.
Yeah, I
lock,
don't
but
think Lonzo's a law.
Yo,
Law.
Lonzo
Oh,
is
I
a
didn't
lock.
even say Fred Van Vliet's in there.
Yes, sir. Yes,
There's
sir,
so many
Dylan.
good defensive guards out there, but
They're both locks, bro.
Caruso and DeJounte are both
Lonzo's not
Caruso,
a
my
first team.
I
Lonzo
feel
With
like
the
might be
Lonzo's
amount
been
of,
third
playing really
team.
good defense though.
but with
Caruso
the
and
amount of
DeJounte
good
are both my
good guard
locks
defenders, I
for
wouldn't say
guard.
he's a lock.
I don't think Lonzo's a
Okay.
lock. I think he's just really good.
He's a really good defender. Don't get me wrong.
You also don't know how much time Caruso's going to miss on this hammy, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that's
Oh, good
like
point.
But one thing
He's
about
not.
these
He's not expected to miss more than a week. I mean,
one thing
it's
about these
not really
defensive
more.
teams
It's more
though.
of a calf issue than a hand issue.
hammies are the worst, though. Hammies are just the fucking worst.
Yeah, I bet you would know right now, Cash. But
Oh,
so
stop
All
it!
right,
Leave
come
me
the
alone.
reason
on.
why
Stay
Joe
calm.
Harris, the ankle, and my hand. Oh, stop it!
another reason why I'm mentioning this too is that as we heard through the Michael Porter Jr. contract, some of the other contracts given out, like there's incentives for making these all defensive teams, right? And I don't
Yeah.
know what Lonzo's contract says. I don't know what Caruso's contract says. I don't know what DeJounte's contract says. But if these dudes are to make this mark, like they could get extra cash. So
I
it's
also
one
love
of
how
the.
Dylan couldn't wait 2 seconds before karate chopping me right in my hamstring. Thank
He
you,
certainly
Dylan.
did not wait.
I'm sorry. I saw a
Nice.
broken photo, and I don't. I had to.
You got
You know.
me.
But
So
I
then,
think
who would you guys
good.
say are locks right now? Then
Caruso is an absolute lock. I think he's one of the best defensive guards in the league.
I agree.
I didn't even mention Drew Holiday, by the way, which was a fucking absolute brain fart by me. But I think Caruso and DeJounte are both locks for me as of right now. I think
I
DeJounte
agree.
shit is incredible, and I
What
think
about
Caruso's
Antetokounmpo?
incredible.
Yeah, he's a forward.
Giannis
We're
is
talking about
Oh,
definitely an
you
guards.
just
absolute
doing
lock.
guards? You just doing
Yeah,
guard? Okay.
I think
Yeah,
we're just doing
no,
guards.
no. If we're doing the whole entire thing,
Oh,
like
we're doing both.
Draymond, Giannis, Rudy are absolute locks,
Oh,
without a
absolute
doubt.
locks by far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily on that.
Would Andrew Wiggins, if he did get in, would he be a guard or would he be in the front court?
I think he'd be
He would be
front
a
court
forward.
when Clay comes back.
I believe front court.
But
Small
if
forward.
Wiggins was to get in over, I won't go there right now. I slander Wiggins too much. But Jimmy, Paul George, Mikel, etc. I don't know.
Embiid.
Well, I don't think Embiid plays forward. But I mean, he can make it
Oh
as a
no, I'm
forward.
just
You're
talking
right.
about locks. I'm just talking about
Right.
locks.
No, actually, no. That
But isn't
was
it
fucked
three
up.
Wait,
forwards?
Embiid
Embiid
can
made
be
it as
listed
a
as
forward
forward
before, so I'm bugging.
Yeah, he and Drummond played minutes, so technically he can.
I think
Which
they
is
eliminated the whole
which is
center
so
position.
whack,
Yeah, is
by
it-
the way, yo.
Is it two
totally ruins
guards,
the
two
team.
forwards, center? I thought it was two guards, three forwards.
Nah, but
I
the
thought it was
thing
two
is
guards.
that they
Three forwards,
haven't.
it is.
They have stupid rules, and you see it every year when they fuck up the All NBA voting. And man, like Luka got a ton of votes at forward for some reason, thanks to that asshole. But like,
Oh wow.
they have people out of position sometimes. So
Yeah,
Embiid made it
absolutely
as a
is, Tino.
forward,
Exactly.
which I think is whack. But at the end of the day, like I just mentioned the contract stuff, like some of this it's pretty important for some of these dudes.
This
So.
is where analytics can friggin' help us. Like, we should just use it by who has the ball, like who is dribble. Like that should be a guard, right? Like someone like Luka, who's like controlling pace and offense like that, should not be in the same voting pool as someone like Embiid, or Jan or someone like that,
It's just
100% agree.
hard for me though because basketball is like so positionless now. Like, bro, these forwards be bringing the ball up now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how you would be able to like have that down to an exact science.
I have no
Well, give
problem
me an
with best
example of
five
someone.
players.
Give me an example of a forward who brings the ball up that wouldn't be listed as a forward.
Oh, that wouldn't
That's
be listed as a
what.
forward.
Yeah, I don't think
What
there is.
is Doncic and Simmons listed at? What are they listed as? Point
So
guards,
Simmons is listed
right?
as a guard, and he gets forward votes. And Luka's also listed as a guard, and he gets forward votes. And it messes up the pool, and like it changes who makes it too. Because like if you're splitting
It does.
guards and forwards votes, that means someone else can slip right in.
Yeah, like Jimmy Butler was getting guard and forward
Yep,
votes a
I was
lot.
just about to say that. Yep.
Jimmy is someone who
So
I think should also be a lock, in my opinion, for one of those two teams. But
wait,
He's
so
got
then
to
do
stay
you think
healthier, bro.
He's
then
top
for
5 in
guards
every defensive
then, right?
metric.
What I would want to know is, are you saying Luka is a forward by your definition, Dylan?
no, I'm saying that Luka should be a guard, and the fact that he gets forward votes is dumb.
Okay, so what about Ben Simmons?
And Ben Simmons is a guard, and the fact that he gets forward votes is dumb, but it's way more understandable.
I think if
Well,
you
actually,
look at
the
the
fact that he gets
breakdown
votes
of
in
the
general
votes
is
last
annoying,
year,
but
Simmons was primarily a guard in the votes.
Right.
Like almost all of his votes were guard. It's more like the Luka thing because he was originally listed as a 3 when he first came in, but he obviously operates as the point guard, so his is a little more weird. But I will say Simmons's breakdown with the votes is almost all guard.
which is funny that he's all guard and Luka. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, Jimmy like made all. It was one or the other. One of them he made for one of the all defensive teams. He made forward, and then all NBA he made guard, or the other way around.
It was the other
really
way
weird.
around, but yeah.
Yeah, he made forward for one team and guard for the
I
other. It was
didn't
so
know
weird.
that, and that sounds really dumb.
It was dumb, in my opinion.
I think Paul George also got votes at guard, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
I was
He
just
got guard
about to
forward.
say Paul George.
That was
The
dumb.
defensive player of the year is weird. Like, y'all remember when Marcus Gasol was all defense second team, but he still won defensive player of the year?
Same
I don't
thing
know how
happened
he
with
didn't make
Tyson.
first team.
The same thing happened with Tyson Chandler as well. He was all defensive second team, and if you go line history, there's probably another one, but I'm not some historian.
How does that even happen? Like, I don't understand that.
Different people voting.
When it comes to like
Ramona
at the end of the day,
Shelburne
like
and some other person walks into a room and just doesn't know what they're doing. So
I like that.
yeah, at the end of the day, we the whole like voting media voting has been shitty for a long time now. So like I really don't even. I know for a contract it's important, but like I kind of stopped looking at it.
Did you guys see that Luka got an all defensive vote? Like what the fuck?
Wait, what?
It was a Dallas fan too. Luka
Oh,
got an all
man,
defensive
that's
vote,
bad.
and it was by a Dallas fan.
You serious?
His reasoning was that Luka is very underrated defensively. I was like, okay.
Lord, bro.
So bad.
That's terrible.
If Luka is underrated defensively, then so is Tyler Hero.
Duncan
And by that I
Robinson's
mean
mad
that he
underrated,
does not
yeah.
play defense.
I mean, last year he was like a neutral. I mean, I wouldn't go Tyler Hero far.
And Carmelo.
All I'm saying is that if Cater Killian get a vote this year, I apologize for the Detroit beat writer that did it.
Killian for DPOY.
Killian for DPOY is nasty as hell. Yeah. So then for me, I think for my first team, I would go Alex Caruso. I would go DeJounte Murray. I will go Giannis. I will go Gobert, and I guess Embiid.
Whoa! There is a name there that you.
I might have.
No, there's a name there that you're just.
There's a French man that you forgot.
No, not a French man. There's a man from your. There's a man from your state that you just kind of like.
I know you're not watching the game right now, but Jokic just threw a basketball, bro, and he just smacked the shit out of somebody in the first row. Oh my
Damn.
god.
Yeah, I thought you were a
Um.
Warriors fan. Get through what's going on there.
Okay. Okay.
Unreal.
So then, I think Embiid would be second team. Is that? Mm,
No, Embiid being second team is completely fair.
I think that's
Yeah,
fair,
Embiid
right?
should be at second team.
I'd
Okay.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool then. Cool then. I completely forgot about Draymond. Yeah. So then, who makes the second team then? By y'all thoughts right there.
I think Lonzo's on your second team.
Yeah,
He's got
for
he's a top 10 or 11 in steals. He's got I think he's a leader in blocks for point guards.
I,
He's top 10 in deflections.
I think he's
I think
top.
I would
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
Lonzo. I think I would go Lonzo and Drew for my guards on the second team. To be honest,
I think that's fair.
This is more of a question, but how has Paul George been looking defensively this season?
he's not
Better.
Jimmy. He's not Jimmy Butler, and I think
He's been better than last year, but I wouldn't say he was
I
as
think
good as
that's some of the
Jimmy.
He's
credit.
got a huge offensive load this season because
Yeah.
Kawhi is out. So his
That's
defense
why. That's why I
is kind of
didn't
went
throw his
down a little
name
bit.
out, but he's very underrated at
Really,
defense.
I'd argue he's been a little bit better than last year because I just don't think he was that good last year. But that's just me.
Jared
I
Allen
think that. I
is
think
what
that.
someone just
I
put
think
in
that
the
McHale
chat
would be
here.
one of the. I think McHale would be one of the other forwards.
Oh yes, McHale
I
for
think
sure.
that. I mean, I don't know OG's health this year, so OG's actually stepped up offensively.
No,
Yeah,
Miguel's a lot.
But
Miguel's a lot.
Jimmy should be there in my opinion, and then I
Okay.
would go Embiid as the second team center.
So Jimmy,
But like I
Jimmy,
already
McHale
said,
Miguel,
Bridges.
Embiid, Lonzo.
the guard shit is
Okay.
super deep. So I don't know. Like, we're only 20 games
Yo,
in,
can we put in
so
Wiggy?
No,
no.
in my opinion, no.
And like
Wait,
there
who'd
could be
we
the two could break out, some other dude could break out. Marcus Smart could turn the season around. Like I don't know.
who'd we have at guard?
I,
Lonzo.
I had Lonzo and Drew.
Okay, got you. I I,
Yep.
I think DeJounte Murray could be in the conversation. Honestly.
I had
Oh no,
DeJounte on
he's
my first
one.
team.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my bad. I missed that.
KWW.
I mean, I don't think he's first team, but I do believe Lonzo deserves at least third team, bro. I mean, he's one of
Third
the
Where
team.
best
There
At
is
Wait,
no
least
wait,
perimeter
what
wait,
depth
wait,
team?
defensive
wait, wait,
guards
anymore.
in
wait,
the
wait, wait,
league.
wait, wait.
At least
Wait,
what
wait.
team?
I'm
Yeah,
very
anyways,
happy
what
you
the
said
fuck
that.
is the
Anyways,
defensive third team?
there should be a third team though. Like, why the fuck is there not a third team? I do agree with that.
Well,
Like,
just
Because of
look. Oh wait, damn,
contracts,
I'm thinking
Gifted.
of
Because
All
of
NBA.
contracts.
Yeah, there's no third defensive team.
I mean, but
It's
like, do you
because of
think they should add one?
contracts. They're not going to.
Of course not,
That's
because that
true.
means the owners will lose more money.
Yeah, because that means that more people
Damn.
would get the incentives on their contracts, and that means the owners make less money.
Yeah.
And welcome to
Uh,
America. So
real
I'm
quick,
not
by
gonna
the
get into that
way,
right now, though.
I muted this because again, great conversation. Make sure that you guys are following the host up here. Problem is, I can't get everybody up here as a speaker. So again, this is live streamed on YouTube right now, so you can literally hop in the chat and I'll read off your things. Unfortunately, the last thing I see here was a troll hot take: Jared Allen greater than Gobert. I didn't say that. That's what the chat said. But tap in with the chat. You know what I'm saying? And I'll try to make sure you guys are heard because we can't
Can
get.
you name drop who said that?
Yeah, that was my boy Tino. He's been in every YouTube live stream since we began, so he's actually a YouTube chat regular.
All right, shout out Tino. I'm not gonna pack up that take right now. Then
But yeah, I'm gonna go back unmute.
Yo, I just want to say, bro. I want to say the most improved player is DeJounte Murray. It's not Miles Bridges, and I want to say, okay. I saw Sixers Matty laughing,
You don't
but
really believe that, bro. Come on now.
I'm a huge DeJounte fan.
Don't
So
fucking call me that.
what what
Wait, what?
what did I do? Okay,
so
so
my question would be to the room
okay,
that do we think that? No, mind, you can go. My bad.
I think DeJounte has made a major leap
I had to
offensively,
shout you out.
and that was the biggest gripe on DeJounte's game before the season started because he was a very inefficient scorer, and he's been able to patch that up more recently and become a way better playmaker than he was last year. If you look at the Spurs games, it might be the Spurs system, but his passing has looked absolutely incredible compared to last year. I think that he's made the more impactful improvements to make his team be a winner compared to last year.
I agree with you
This
100%.
Mikey, by the way.
I think DeJounte might be the
Oh,
best
TJ
two-way guard in
McConnell.
the league. That might be a controversial take, but it's hard to
Hey,
think of somebody else.
real quick before we get to that, I want to say Pin Wizard just had a comment in the chat. They said y'all sleeping on TJ McConnell for all defensive teams. Best perimeter defender in the NBA.
DJ is that guy.
Yo,
Like,
Gifted. I have
Come
a question
on,
across
man.
Then we're
Don't
space.
make
sleeping
me
on
don't
Caruso too.
don't
Yo,
don't make me
they were
question. I
sleeping
have a
on Gary
question to
ask
Trent
ask
the
Jr.
Charles.
space. I have a question to ask the space since we're just saying comments like that. Have y'all saw Spencer Dinwiddie? You haven't saw him since November 15th. He's missing right now.
He's bad.
No,
So,
I
He has
haven't
not
saw.
been
I
good.
haven't saw him.
So my
Spencer
only
Dinwiddie
problem
has
with
left the building.
Miles Bridges MIP take, and he's been balling out, and like I love Miles, right? But
I
like,
read that off
do we
so
think that what
fast.
he's doing is more sustainable for an 82 game season than what Dejounte's doing? And I mean,
I
I
don't
guess we'll
know.
see. But I believe more in Dejounte, in personally.
I put 50 on
But I'm
TJ
not surprised
McConnell.
by what Miles is doing at all. I watched him in college almost every
That's
single
a
game.
fact.
So.
ST talk to him.
But the award is most improved, you know. So I mean, I like DeJounte. He should definitely be in the conversation. Can we
I think it's
throw
Miles
Cole
Bridges.
Anthony
Bro,
in there too?
Miles Bridges literally doubled his point total. This isn't even a conversation.
It's
Miles
definitely a
Bridges.
conversation because he's going to go
It's
down
not a
by the end of the year.
conversation,
Well, he's
bro.
not whatever he's averaging right now at the end of the year. That was
Bro,
the
he
whole
went from
point.
12 to 22.
He's not going to average 22.
Even if it's
Not a good
like he
defender if
doesn't
I
drop,
put
it's
him
still a
50.
conversation.
Do
It
you
is,
think
especially because his team's going to make the playoffs and the Spurs
Isn't
aren't.
Dejounte averaging 22 right now?
I thought he was averaging like 20. I don't know
I
why.
don't think. I think what you're gonna see
Miles
is Ja,
Bridges,
ja
Miles
Morant.
Bridges, Miles Bridges is averaging 20, and DeJounte is averaging 19.
you guys don't think Jordan Poole and Tyler Hero don't have a shot?
No, I
they're
don't.
like honorable
But
mentions, I
They're
would
dark
say.
horses.
They're
I
not
think Ja
contenders.
Morant, depending on how good the Grizzlies are,
I know
could
you watch.
definitely push
I know
Bridges.
you watch
But I
So
think
basketball thinking X
Bridges has
Factor.
to be your odds-on favorite. His counting stats show that
Oh man,
the
that's
team's
funny.
probably a playoff team.
Bet I got you,
He's
bro. I got you.
arguably second best player. Second, third best player on the team.
I'm gonna
He
tap in though.
wasn't that
I will.
when the season ended last year. So Bridges, you got to look at playoff teams or teams that are in the hunt,
It's the third best
and then
two-way
go from
guard in the
there. And
league
that's
right
I
now.
would say
but
Ja Morant
Chill.
that's
and
why I would
Bridges.
throw Darius Garland's name in there as well. But my
I
main gripe with the
Mm.
MIP award, which has always been my gripe, is that like when someone mentions Jordan Poole, right? No, I'm not saying Jordan Poole hasn't improved, right? But it's kind of like the Devontae Graham thing, where like, did Devontae Graham improve, or did he like just finally get minutes? Because the whole point
I
is to
think
see
that's fair.
improvement.
Right.
And
I
like, if
agree with that.
the guy's playing 6 7 minutes and then he's playing
Great point.
30, I don't know if he like maybe yeah, I'm not going to disagree. He definitely improved, but did he improve in comparison to a guy who played 28 minutes the year before, played 30 this year, and he's like noticeably better at basketball?
That was gonna be kind of like my point with Darius. Like I think Darius has always been this kind of guy. He's just finally getting the opportunity to show it and like the
I don't agree.
recognition.
I
I
don't
So
think
agree at
I
all.
so
just think he's
Miles
always been really
Bridges,
good.
by pretty comfortable number is the favorite in Vegas. The number I'm seeing for excuse me, DeJounte is he's around 2 or 3 in most betting circles. So yeah, it's pretty much Miles to lose at this point.
Well, I mean, I
I
got
feel
like 2 bets on him winning MIP, so I'm chilling.
that. I think it has a lot to do with Charlotte making the playoffs too. Like they're in the playoff picture. The Spurs are irrelevant this season, and
I think
Miles is
I think
Spurs
Garland
are
was just once
relevant.
actually
by
like terrible
being
at
that team.
basketball, though, and now he's like really good.
But see,
Garland
Dylan, my
terrible.
problem with the Garland point though is I agree that he's improved, but I had him on my fantasy team, which made me watch more basketball games. Which, by the way, we'll pivot to how the locker room fantasy league is holding up after. But I saw him show flashes consistently last season. I just think he's being more consistent at those flashes this season. I don't see like a night and day improvement completely. I just see a much more consistent game.
Well, I mean, I would agree, but I've also watched a lot of Cleveland games, like way more than I probably should, considering I hate Cleveland, and well, I also live in Cleveland, so I don't have much of a choice really. But like I don't know, I thought Garland was actually pretty bad personally. Like his rookie year, I thought he was terrible.
I thought he played scared, but what you see, and again, that USA basketball bump, boy. I remember Kevin Love. I don't know how he did it, but he got on the USA basketball team, and then he came back, and him and Ricky Rubio were going off in Minnesota. And I was
That's a
like, who
fact.
the fuck? Like, where did Kevin Love come from? And matter of fact, same thing happened to DeMar DeRozan. He went to the USA tryout team, whatever they had in 07, 08. and then he came back and I think he averaged 27 or so that year. So yeah, that USA basketball bump is huge, and I think Garland was a talent. He blew his knee out. He was only a year and a half removed from blowing his knee out. His first year, his rookie year. So because I want to say he sat out. Didn't he? He played 4 games his
He played
freshman
4.
year at Vanderbilt.
He
Yeah,
played
in college he
three and a
played like
half, really.
4.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so I think Garland was always had that kind of talent, that crossover, his delayed, his ability to man. He's got a little bit of Chris Paul in his game where he can manage in the mid range. He's a good shooter. I
No,
think he's a
Garland is
better
way better than
decision maker
Sexton.
than
I'm with
Sexton,
you.
and that's why. And that's honestly,
Agreed.
if you look at it, Sexton goes out
Agreed,
right,
bro. Agreed,
and
Lex.
then they got Rubio and Love, and Love is finally healthy, but Love is only playing 17 minutes. Rubio's only playing 20 something minutes. They put Okuro at the 2, and I think they put Wade at the 3 because marketing was out. And then they were still killing people. And back to your point, I think Garland he was the floor general. He was a floor general. He was keeping everybody in pace. And then they had those big. I think that the decision to go with 3 7-footers is sort of like the anti-small ball, and I think that's helped them as well.
I would absolutely
so
agree.
Shea Gilgeous is really good. Kind
I
of
like
off
his points.
topic, and Lou Dort
Yeah,
just
he
hit a
is.
3, and it's now a 3-point game. So for a game that people thought was boring, I thought it's actually been interesting.
Take him off the air.
I did. That's
Nobody
fancy.
wants to see those kids.
Can you tell me where
Yo,
the
that
Nets rank
sounds
right
too
now?
real.
Can you tell
Oh
me where
my
the Nets
god.
rank now right now in attendance, Cash? Where
Is
does the
that
Nets
Stan
rank
Van
now in
Gundy? Hold
attendance?
on, wait a minute.
Get
Yeah, of
off
all fucking
my
people to talk about being
phone.
watched, Stan Van Gundy.
Yo,
Oh
Cash,
man.
I'm scared, bro. Like, are you good?
I'm
That's what I'm
serious.
saying.
It's
Cash is killing
ridiculous,
that,
man. I'm
bro.
so tired
Cash
of
is killing
Stan
that
Van
shit.
Jesus,
Gundy.
bro.
Like,
He
Yo,
got a
you need to be.
I'm
future
so
in voice
fucking
acting,
tired
bro.
of that
I was
bald
just gonna say
fucking
that, bro.
headed,
Jesus,
bald
bro.
fucking head motherfucker. Fuck that fuck.
He
Let these
literally
fucking
Wow,
kids
lost
wow,
play
like
on
whoa,
defense.
whoa, hold on,
Wow.
wait. Hold on, wait.
Hey,
All right,
What?
hey.
I'm muting this just for the simple fact that Stan Van Gundy is catching strays, and it was Jeff Van Gundy, his younger, dumber brother.
Oh
But
damn.
Stan Van Gundy was not the man who did it. That's a Detroit legend.
Spit. I think this was a good mute though, because there's a couple things I want to say. For one, guess what,
Too
Cash?
many fucks.
Normally,
Too many fucks.
no. Perfect amount of fucks. This is the locker room. You can talk how you want to talk. Don't overdo it. I'm just, I'm. I always fuck with people expressing themselves fully, and if that's how you really feel, then fucking say how you feel. We with all that. I do want to say though, there is a I don't think I can read off this comment in good faith. Um, Jokes aside, who do you think has the higher ceiling, Trey Young or Garland?
Who asked that question?
Spitting. Who that random is,
So it's Tino.
spitting.
It's Tino again in lunch.
What was the question?
Yo, Tino is a locker
Who
room
has the
legend, bro.
higher ceiling, Trey or Garland?
Yo, real shit. You need to block Tino.
No. He's spitting. Why would you need to
Tino
block him?
has been in every single episode.
Shout
Tino's
out
been
to
in every single
that.
YouTube
Shout
chat.
out to
Yeah.
him. Shout out to him. Shout out to
Shout
him.
out
Shout
to
out
him
him
for him
There's
being a
fallen soldiers sometimes.
and
He's one of
spitting
them.
facts.
facts. Like they always want to hate on the loyalists, bro. Tino, shout out to you, bro.
Hey,
It do be
so
like
I'm
that.
sorry,
I'm
but like,
Tino, by the way. Just
there are
kidding. I'm not
two
Tino.
things. Can I say there are two things that I really would like to talk about. We're only going to talk about one of them, and that one is Zion. Because I'm actually like I saw that picture and I actually am like sad. Like oh my, I'm not laughing. Like I'm not
Oh,
like
here we go with the body
I
shame.
made that joke. I made that joke in the locker room like last week. Like with the Stephen A. Smith. I'm sad. Like when I saw that man in that red outfit, I almost dropped my phone. Just out of how talented that man is and everything that he was supposed to do and how he's literally like eating it away. Like that's horrible.
Eating it away.
Secondly, I want to get to Dame because I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, I don't know if we want to pivot to that, coach. Do y'all want to pivot to that, or do y'all want to keep staying in this section?
I'm with
I
the
don't want
Dame
to like
pivot.
skip.
Well, yeah, I'm
Okay, yeah.
definitely not on the
I
shit
was
on
waiting
So
for
when
Zion.
it
this
comes to Dame,
conversation, Felix. So go
we
ahead.
spoke about Dame a lot in the offseason, but we kind of, as a locker room, we kind of decided
Sorry,
we want to
ST, I
talk about Dame or Ben Simmons.
can't right now.
I
The
think you
whole
need to lay
space is
off
full, but if
Zion's
there's
thyroid.
space, I'll bring you
You
up,
Facts.
need
bro.
to lay off his thyroid real quick.
Hey, no. I thought you said layup Zion. Now you slandering him. Well, no, I don't co-sign that. I'll take that back.
Facts.
Well, I saw a
so
picture of him the other day, and I actually quote tweeted and said that he didn't look that bad, but I was
Nah,
mistaken.
no New Orleans
I
layup.
no,
It
apologize.
was.
it's
I
not.
don't know. Because that one
But yeah, when it
angle.
comes to Dame, like I'm just saying, like we've heard him like say so much about loyalty and everything like that, and then like when Chauncey Billups came with the sexual assault thing came out about Chauncey Billups, like if he wanted to leave or if he wanted to leverage anything, that was his prime moment to do so, and he opted not to do that. And yes, I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm just being in general because he could have gone to the 76ers, he could have gone like there was word of him
You
going to a
could
lot
be
of places.
loyal and dumb. You could still be
Saying
dumb and
like
loyal.
right, but I'm saying him saying like there was a tweet that came out with someone in the organization where they were like, hey, like his loyalty has kind of shielded him from the fact that he's part of the problem. And so I wanted to see like how does y'all necessarily feel about that? Do y'all feel like they're not giving Dame enough to succeed, or is it Dame's ceiling is not a championship team? I
The
think that's the
pro
question we
the
should
That
be
problem.
article was not that. I mean, it was well written, but I just like
I'll
I
be
don't know
right
how we
back.
can blame
I gotta go to
Dame
the
for
bathroom.
some
Give
of
me 1
the
second, yo.
team construction issues. But
Yeah,
right, and I'm not
I
talking about that,
I
Dylan.
think
I'm talking about specifically, Dylan. I'm talking about specifically the fact that like if you get Ben Simmons right and you drop him onto that team, because we're not going to talk about 10 years of dog shit team. Come on now, if they get Ben Simmons right and they drop him on that team, obviously we know CJ. There's no way Ben Simmons gets on that team and CJ McCollum stays. So I'm saying if it's Dame and CJ, what is that? I'm sorry, if it's Dame and Ben Simmons, what do we see?
the same team is still around them, so I don't think
yeah.
it would really do much.
But also we like guys, we've seen Ben's not a number 2, and that's okay. Like they still need another guy up there.
Bro, is Ben Simmons working on his damn jump shot?
No, you
I'd
know.
hope. I'd hope he
That's
is.
never
Bro,
gonna
I ain't gonna
happen, bro.
lie.
That's never gonna happen, bro.
Interrupt me if I say I don't want to hear no more. Like I ain't gonna lie, I fucking hate Ben Simmons. Like I hate him. I
Oh
hate
what?
him more than I hate Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan.
Oh
All
Wait,
wow.
right,
what?
I'm happy DeMar
Why do you hate
DeRozan.
Kyle and
Yeah.
Demar?
What?
Yeah,
And
y'all don't even know my secret hatred for those two because all this. I ain't gonna get on DeRozan because he performing well right now, but wait till the playoffs get here. And Kyle Lowry, I hate him because every time he got to the playoffs, he played like shit. But he got that Mickey Mouse ass fucking ring against my Warriors because my Warriors were made of fucking paper mache in the 2019 finals.
yeah,
Respect
Like
Lowry,
this,
bub. Come on
this
now.
shit.
Yeah, that hate is a strong
yeah.
word, bro.
You got to
But
get
no,
that
no,
hate up.
no. I hate Ben
I'm talking
Simmons.
about Ben Simmons.
Let him get
I
his
hate
feelings out.
Ben
Let him get his
Simmons for the
feelings out.
simple fact that he literally like I hate when he tried to look at another man's success and well, Giannis, they built the team around nigga, they built a fucking team around you. Shut the fuck up. They got rid of
Spitting.
Jimmy fucking
He's
Butler,
spitting.
one of the best players in basketball, one of the hardest workers in basketball, one of the best defenders in basketball, for to comfort you, my nigga. You're not even the best. You're not even the fucking best player, nigga. Nigga, you might even not even be better than Seth, my nigga. I really would rather have my nigga Seth, the goat, the baby goat assassin nigga and then we talking about Dame. We're gonna pair him with another mid ass nigga. We gonna pair
Okay.
him with another mid just for Steph Curry to beat both of them niggas. And
Okay.
Jesus
Hey,
Christ,
hey.
Jesus
So
Christ,
I
what are
I
we
want to give
talking
you some
about?
affirmation.
Yeah,
So, but
this is clearly Curry. That's what this is about. Okay, I got you.
Oh no
Okay,
no
so
no 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 no! This not even
yes.
about Curry. This not even about Curry. I got the Lakers beating the fucking Blazers. They get Ben Simmons. I got fucking the Kings beating the fucking Blazers. They get Ben Simmons. Nigga, I got them bringing Seattle Supersonics out of retirement and beating them niggas with a fucking expansion roster. Them niggas are gonna
God
be
damn,
ass. Them niggas are gonna be terrible, my nigga. Fuck
God damn.
Ben Simmons. Fuck
With the
Damian Lillard.
answer roster?
Damian Lillard is a. I'm not even gonna say it because I
Oh
don't think I
no,
can
get it
say
off
it
your
because.
chest. ST, say it. Let
Okay,
it go.
because
It's the locker room, bro.
Damian Lillard is that one girl that's always with the same boyfriend. We're just gonna say he treats her like shit. We're not gonna go into detail what the boyfriend does to her, but we just gonna say Damian Lillard is that girl that always, and then she posts on Instagram, well, I can't leave, I can't leave, I can't leave. He treats me good, knowing damn well the nigga ain't shit, and he be beating her.
All
All
right,
right,
that's enough
all
of
right.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
That is enough of that.
stop.
Let's.
You don't know him like I
Bro,
know him.
happened.
Uh,
All right,
I
that was
felt,
Maybe
enough
bro.
killing
of
me with
I
that
felt
that,
lie,
ladies
bro.
and
808 and
gentlemen.
Dylan.
All right, I'm back. I'm
I
back. I'm
knew
back.
the second he said something.
So,
Yes, he was.
All right.
uh,
I'm
I
gonna
just
be
came
honest with
back.
you.
I
I don't
just
know
came
who
back.
let
I
him
just
in.
came back.
I'm
just
pretty sure.
to
I'm
bring
pretty
it
sure
back
what
to
Gifted did was let him in and then pretend he was gone because he knows that I don't like him
Wait,
in
wait,
here.
wait,
Yes,
wait,
Facts.
they did. He put in the group chat. I'm
wait,
getting.
wait a minute. What
I'm
happened?
pretty positive that's what. But that's okay though. That's okay though.
No. Wait. What happened though?
Oh, your boy ST came in here and he said something that you're probably gonna want to cut out of the locker room. But it's
Bro, man.
it shit happens.
Okay, wait. Did he at least try to hold that side back at all, or did he just outwardly say it?
You were listening the whole time. You know exactly what he was doing. You're lying your ass
No,
off right
I
now.
wasn't, bro. Listen, I went to go get food, bro.
You let him in here before you went to quote unquote go get food.
Yes, because I texted y'all
Gifted.
in the group DMs.
I'll tell you
Hey,
what
hold
happened.
it
Gifted.
down. I'm
Gifted. I'll tell you
grabbing
what.
food. Okay, what's
I'll
up?
tell you what happened. Right. So we started the conversation. It was actually. I still want to have the conversation, by the way. Because it's a good
Okay.
conversation.
An actual
But
conversation.
Yo,
he started
Detroit blew
talking
that
about
lead to
how
OKC.
he
Wow.
started talking about how he didn't like, he didn't like certain players. He didn't like Kyle Lowry. He didn't like DeMar DeRozan. Did he explain
I
that?
feel that.
Then he got to
Mm-hmm.
talked about Damian Lillard and how Dame Lillard is trash and how he has, if they got Ben Simmons, he has the Lakers and the Kings and all the other guys beating them. Then he was like Dame Lillard, and this is when it got crazy. But basically, he inserted a domestic abuse joke, but then said he wasn't gonna
Okay.
insert the domestic abuse joke just to then insert it.
Yeah,
But
that wasn't
Okay.
cool,
Okay.
bro.
Now
and we
listen.
stopped him. We stopped him right before I got there though, because
If
me, 808,
anyone,
and Dylan all knew.
listen,
Like I tried to clean it up with like a joke that
if
wasn't nowhere near
anyone
that.
said
But
this, if anyone said no, ST, keep going, that's the one person you cannot do that for. That's my guy. But if he tries to hold himself back, let him. Like, I don't know. But it's fine. We'll pivot
Yo,
back though.
gifted. Yo, gifted.
Yo, what's
That
good,
was
bro?
fucked up though.
Yo,
And I'll say what I want to say real quick.
yo.
Hold on, Rocket, real quick. As a
Oh, my
co-host,
bad.
like if you've experienced anything like that, we don't do that as a joker. In all seriousness, like we don't joke about around like shit like that. This is a locker room,
Yeah,
but
we don't.
like
We don't.
their topics that we don't touch. That's one of them. I apologize if anybody was offended. We stopped them before you got there, but we don't do that here. Go ahead, Rocket.
Oh, I was just saying, Kate Cunningham can't close.
Stop it.
Talk to him. Talk to him.
Oh man, he must have
But
lagged
nah,
out.
like going
I
back
mean,
to
where's
Ben
he from?
Simmons, man.
Houston. He could have
Like
better internet. I don't know what happened there, but
Oh,
I'm from the South, and I've watched him in the SEC. He couldn't get LSU to the tourney, man. So like, I've been anti Ben Simmons for like it feels like a decade. It's like, and it just I feel about Ben Simmons the way Russell Westbrook felt about Pat Bev. Like, man, he got y'all food. All you do is just run around. Um, he just don't want to be great, and that's fine. Like Ben just wants to get paid, like, and that's fine. But like, let's talk about players like as they are. Like, let's stop trying to put Ben on a championship team. What Ben is the perfect Sacramento King. He's there to get paid. Sacramento would love to have an all star. It is what it is. He's a perfect Minnesota Timberwolf. He's not going to win a chip. It is what it is. So, like, I would like for us to talk about players as they are. And going back to the award season thing, I would like to start an award thing where we talk about players and the roles they play. So instead of first team point guard, who's the first team lead guard? Because it still makes me itch to consider Curry a point guard. Like he's a lead guard, but I don't really consider him a point guard because he's looking for his shot first. But that's just
same thing
me.
with Kyrie.
Purist grew up watching Magic and John Stockton do their thing. But yeah, nah. Ben Simmons is not a fraud. He's not bad. He's just not a player that's interested in being an all time great. So he needs to be a Sacramento King. It just is what it is.
real quick, let me get my take off real quick, because it's gonna be short. The way I feel
All
about
right,
this
chat. No
Damian
problem.
Lillard situation, ironically, is how I feel about
I
the
burned
Ben
my food,
Simmons
unfortunately. So
debacle. I feel as though both franchises waited entirely too long to try to move either player, and now we've gotten to the point where we're trying to trade the players from their respective teams. And I just think it's funny because, like I said, the time has just passed. Damian Lillard is basically abusing the loyalty of the Portland Trailblazers to both shield himself from criticism, in my opinion, as well as like just you know they put teams around Dame in the past. You know what I mean? He's had better defensive teams, he still couldn't get it done. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go into details, and we know what Ben Simmons has been up to in his career. So I'm not even going to get started on that. But the time has passed, and now both of these franchises, in my opinion, are fucked. They're fucked.
You think Philly's?
God
Fucked?
damn it!
I think Philly out of these two teams, I think Philly has a better chance of moving the player that is the issue, and then coming out of it a better team, possibly a contender. But for the
There's no
Portland, I
way.
don't really
There's
see
no way
what
he
they
put
could
that in
do
the
or who they
chat.
could
Nah,
move to
ST,
basically
you
become a
gotta relax,
championship
bro.
contender.
You gotta
I
relax.
actually I think that they both are suffering from stubbornness from a lot of different individuals. I don't know for those of y'all. So like Scottie Pippen in the 1990 finals, right? He gets a migraine headache. You guys saw The Last Dance. I actually saw it. So he gets that migraine headache. If social media existed, he would have
I
like,
cannot let
and
ST
y'all
do
see how
this.
Scotty is in this book and all that. So if you read Jordan Rules, the lead writer for the Bulls, Sam Smith, he says Jordan wants to trade Pippen for Walter Davis. Walter Davis was his teammate in North Carolina. Krause is like, nah, we're not trading him. He wasn't sure about Phil Jackson. They brought Scotty back. Scotty was resilient. They beat the Lakers in the championship. But it just goes to show you how much social media really can destroy your ego. I think that Simmons and Lillard are not the same case. I think Simmons suffers from insecurity, and he has a bunch of yes men around him. He's never had anybody push him because there's no way in hell either you gonna play the four or you gonna learn how to shoot. That's your two options. You gonna be in there doing some Giannis Antetokounmpo trying to dunk on somebody, or you gonna learn how to shoot.
So Joe, that's why I don't necessarily have any, and we spoke about this 1,000 times. Also, Thrasher and Natalie, we're not doing hands. Please just get in, but we're going to be respectful. Everyone's going to be able to talk. But that's where I want to say, like, they see Ben Simmons every single day. Okay, 76ers, like, and this is what I said in the offseason. They paid Ben. Okay, they all these issues that Ben Simmons had, they knew. So I hate when 76ers are like, "Oh my God, we no," because you knew he wasn't in the gym. You knew he had that mundane attitude. You knew he was BSing, blase, blah blah blah.
He Hollywood. He Hollywood.
You paid him anyway, and so now it's like, oh well, and then also let's not forget what happened. They were up against the Hawks in multiple games, and they blew that shit. And on top of that, Doc Rivers went from saying, if you think I should take Ben Simmons off the court, you don't watch basketball too. I don't know if he can be a starting point guard. Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid says the moment that switched the momentum was when we missed that free throw.
This is what they
he
get.
feels like he
God,
feels
This is
can
like
their
we? No,
basketball
guys,
karma.
no,
listen.
no,
I
hold on, hold on,
really.
hold on, hold on,
I
hold on.
agree with that.
But what you
Saying when
said,
you're
bro,
talking about Ben
you
Simmons,
just
you
misrepresented
know
what
this
happened,
guy,
though.
this guy's a diva. And so I'm saying this isn't like I'm not saying it's all of the 76ers fault, but the 76ers organization absolutely has a part to play in this. So they made their bed, they're gonna have to land that shit with all due respect. And I want to let Natalie and Thrasher go, but
I would agree.
It,
again, like at the end of the
Julius,
day,
I'm
It's
convinced Philly lost
Natalia
their
or
game.
say Nat,
Yeah,
man. We in
I'm,
too many spaces together for you
I'm
to
we
for you
definitely
to be
watched
doing
it.
that. Come on, man.
Natalia.
You be
My
saying
apologies,
wild
Natalia.
shit,
Thank you.
ST.
It's on me.
I ain't
I'm
gonna lie.
horrible with names, so like correct me every time.
I
People do.
got you. I got you. Let me just jump in here real quick, right? Like, let me say this right. So I disagree somewhat with a lot of people's takes on Ben Simmons. Number one, he's not a number one guy. We knew that. So let's get that out the way.
I would agree.
But
I would
I'm
agree.
not about to sit here and say that a dude that averages last year at least 15, what's this, 7-7, is just not a guy you can't use on a good team. That's somebody who, if you can convince him to play power forward, I think he would be very useful because he's a fantastic defender. He has great court vision. On top of that, he's a great rebounder and get people involved. That's somebody who definitely you can use. Now, my issue with him going to Portland is Damian Lillard. I'm not sure if he makes people necessarily better because one dude to me that's over there just flailing around, but I thought he was better on other teams. He may not be, an all-star superstar, but people don't have to be that to be useful. But Robert Covington, this man goes from averaging like 15 points, 13 points, 12 points. He was consistently with double doubles, gets to Portland, that shit drops to 8, and then now he's at 7. And I think that he kind of gets scapegoated a little bit. And it's like, if you can't get him going, what are we going to do with Ben Simmons? Someone who is definitely unwilling to shoot. But what are you going to do if you can't even help Robert Covington in some kind of way? So I think that at some point, people are like Damian Lillard need to be honest and say that he's got some work to do on his game. And I think that he's kind of scapegoating the team, because I think he's been wanting to leave for a year or two. He's just scared to say it because he don't want people hating him. So
I
that's
just want
my thing on him.
real quick. We
Can
just
I
had.
reply to that?
I just want to say real quick. We just had a person come in here with a Dame Lillard Avi, so it make it hot. Get the clips ready.
This is the thing, right? I came in here to somebody saying that they put a team around Dame and he didn't do anything with it. So what we not going to do?
I think that was for Simmons. I don't think that was for Dame. I think that was for Ben Simmons.
By the way,
Nah, that was definitely for Dame. They
No,
definitely
he
put
That
was
was
team
for
talking
Dame.
around
about.
Dame.
Oh
No,
no,
it was
it
for
was me.
Dame.
Oh, all right, fuck it.
He
He
said
was,
it for
he was
Dame.
talking about Dame. So what we not going to do is slander people, because that's slander. That's baseless. They had Wes Matthews. They had C.J. McCollum, LaMarcus Aldridge, Will Barton. This was in Dame's third year. Next year, all of them guys were gone. Only person left was CJ. They got Aminu, and after that, Aminu was the best wing player on the team. So what is this? 2015 to 2021. So that's what, 6 years. They have failed to get one wing player or replace LaMarcus Aldridge. So when you say they put a team around him, and during this time, he beat a team with 2 All NBA players on the team by himself, you're sitting up here saying he didn't do anything with them, is baseless.
I think you're reading way too far into
That's baseless.
way
though.
too
I think
far. I
it's
didn't mean that he was a complete failure or anything like that. Like, yes,
You
he's gotten
said
to
they gave
no,
him
no,
a
no, no.
team.
Wait. He's gotten to the Western Conference Finals a couple times. I'll give him that. But for where he's ranked, if you try to match up the success, for me, it does not match up. Now,
Because what he
if you want
had
to have a
to
conversation
work
about
with.
that, we can have a conversation about that. But I'm not trying to say he's a bum or anything or like that. But you know what I
No,
mean?
you're
Like,
trying to say he's underperformed with what he's
he
been
has.
given.
He's had bad playoff series.
hey yo,
Oh
just
no,
for
no,
the
He
no,
doesn't
record.
no.
have a roster, and he's playing against teams that have a
Let's
roster.
Hey
Okay,
yo,
but there's
just
other
let's do
players
that.
that don't have the roster that don't,
That
you
do
know,
what?
that get
Let me ask you a
criticism
question.
and they
What year, besides the Pelican shit, did they lose in the playoffs in a series they should have won where it was his fault? Because the Denver shit was not his fault at all. Tell me what year they underperformed.
The man put up 55 points
Yeah,
in a
come on,
game, and
bro.
they lost by 7.
The
What are
Pelicans
you
one
talking about?
was his fault. Besides that, they've never lost the playoff series that they were favorited to win. They've been underdog in every playoff series except like one. I'm pretty sure.
Because the roster was trash. Like,
Exactly,
literally,
bro.
that is the reason why.
But
So
you don't
here,
think he deserves some type of accountability?
how does
this
he?
is
Like,
what I was
every
saying
No,
about
other
the loyalty.
superstar
This is
gets
look.
accountability, but
But
Literally,
for
if
what
he didn't play
accountability
out of
for
his
what?
One
mind
mic.
every
One mic.
February, they would not even be there. They wouldn't be
So
in the playoffs.
hold on, Thrash. So
well
so
let me
last
let
year,
me frame this in a
the Blazers
different way.
were
It's
last year the
not
Blazers.
Dame's
Okay,
fault
fuck me then.
that he did not have an elite wing over 6'6" to 6'8" in his entire career.
Entire fucking career.
That's not on Dame. And the thing
Bro,
is, and we have a wait. We have
I
a
never
modern
made that statement, but go ahead.
wait. I never said you did. But what I'm saying is,
Okay, so
if
what are we
we
talking
if
about?
it's a
we're talking
statement that
about
needs
in
to
the
be made,
era
Senor.
of, let's say it starts really with Kobe. You have to have, well, really Michael Jordan. You have to have an elite wing to win a chip. Outside of the Olajuwon years,
I
you
don't know
have to
what's funny
have
about
an
that.
elite wing to win a chip, and Dame has never had that. So Dame has never underperformed. Now, what if to Nat's point about Dame not making anybody better?
that's
I
not
would
true, man. Holy
I
shit.
would argue that Dame has never been put in a system to make everybody better, because what the Blazers offense basically was let's get Dame hot. They're gonna have to double. Dame is gonna have to pass out the double, and then we're gonna move the ball to CJ on the opposite side of the court. And
Exactly.
then Dame's gonna sit, then CJ's gonna get hot, and then CJ's gonna get double, and then they're gonna swing the ball out the double and kick it to Dame on the other side of the court.
It was just
And and
ISO and pick and roll. That's
Bro,
the
yes,
that was
we're
the whole
yes,
completely
scheme.
missing
exactly,
what's actually
exactly.
happening in
And the
Portland.
and the thing
But
with
I
the
digress.
Blazers is they got hit with bad luck with LMA, ego, not willing to be the second guy to Dame, and then they screwed up their timeline. And part of that was their fault. Part of that was not their fault.
Also,
They
But
I
my
didn't
thing is
hear
like
Nicholas
we
Batum one time. By the way,
So hold on,
I
hold
just
on,
wanted
hold
to
on,
address
Felix.
the
Hey, real quick. I'm sorry, but Dylan's been cut off like 3 times. I'm gonna let you
Yeah,
go
I
ahead,
don't think Jay
Dylan.
can hear. I can
That's
hear
my
host
call.
for some reason, but I don't think Jay can hear host. But he cut me off like 3 times. But I digress. So, so the Blazers this year are the fourth best offense in the NBA. And if you watch the team this year, you're like, oh wow, that doesn't seem like the fourth best offense. And when we say Dame doesn't make his teammates better, and then we look at the stats and we wonder what the fuck's happening in Portland, the guy's doubled every single possession. He's been doubled
Yep.
every single possession for multiple years now, and you're never gonna hear that because
35 feet out.
Steph Curry's the only guy in the NBA that gets double teamed, but that's irrelevant. Last year they were one of the best offenses in the NBA. The year before they were one of the best offenses in the NBA. A running trend in Portland is that they're a top offense. It's because Dame absolutely makes his teammates better, and he's one of the best offensive players ever. The problem in Portland is that last year they were the 29th ranked defense in the NBA. Terry
Yep.
Stotts got blamed for that. They then went ahead and fired Terry Stotts. They brought in Chauncey. They were like, yo, Chauncey should be able to come in and change everything. They now, instead of having the 29th ranked defense, have the worst defense in the NBA. That is blamed on Neil O'Shea. That is blamed on Portland. And yes, you can blame Dame's deficiencies on defense for that. But let's say Dame was some all world defender. Let's say Dame had Patrick Beverly defense. That's not gonna fucking make
Right.
them
And
any
look
better.
at the last 2 games
Fuck,
without Dame.
an elite wing. Has he played with a wing that was in his athletic prime, like that could run the floor and stick with another wing?
Fuck
Like,
a
No,
wing.
listen.
give me
No,
They
one.
no. Fuck a wing. They have no ball
Hey,
stoppage.
hey,
They
real
have no
quick.
ball stoppage.
Real quick, Dylan, who better to hear from than Dia herself about Portland? I first off want to introduce Dia. She covers the Trailblazers, very passionate fan. We crossed paths in the summer before the locker room was actually a thing. So shout out Dia. I want to say officially welcome to the locker room, Dia. Before anyone speaks, I want you to know, Dia, you can say whatever you want. There is no limitations. We're not doing hands. If you want to yell, you want to scream, you want to curse about, you can do however you want to do. Just be respectful in that, and we focus on positive negativity. So slander is fine. Just
But
yeah. All right.
gifted. Before she goes, right? The Damian
Okay.
Lillard's probably played his best basketball these last 2 years, right? And go look at the difference
Right.
between the years where they had a top defense and they were incredible, and now they had people that could stop the ball. Dudes didn't just get to the basket at will. And no offense to Dame and CJ, of course, but they can't stop the ball, and that's why they're struggling. And if the Blazers made a move and got CJ off the roster and had some dude who could just stop the ball and like do anything on defense, they'd be in such a better position. That's Neil O'Shea's fault. That's Portland's fault, not Dame's fault
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. I agree with parts of that. I want to let Dia go. Also, my co-host King Felix says he's happy that you're in here. Dia, you're welcome. Feel free to go ahead.
I mean, I just caught the tail end when Gifted when he tagged me. I jumped in here. I was actually in another space listening to Trailblazers fans, which is a totally different feel from what I'm getting in here. It's interesting. We're in an interesting place right now. If you followed the team, I'm guessing most of you don't follow closely enough to know all the backstory and everything that's been going on. And if you do, good job. But I think there's been a lot going on over the last couple years.
And they did.
This
They
is a
absolutely
team
did,
that has
fellas. They
had
absolutely did.
previously a very united front. It's been kind of this pretty little box, this pretty
By the
little
way, Dia
front.
is a writer for Portland.
And
She covers the
behind the
team.
scenes, the GM
In
was
case
a
you don't know.
mess. He just, if you are following it all, he just got fired because of a breach of contract and code of conduct. He was treating people really bad. And then on top of that, putting that aside, he just wasn't good at his job. We've been saying he needed to be fired for a while because he's not making moves. You know, if all of us in here can sit here and say like, hey, this guy needs to make changes, he needs to make trades. There, you know, if Damian Lillard can sit here over the summer and be like, hey, we need change, and the GM is still sitting over there saying, I think it's fine. Like the guy needs to go. So we're glad to have him gone. He's gone. But still, we're in this weird place now where we've got a essentially broken team that isn't working. You can't play three small guards in this league currently and expect it to work, as we've seen. It's not working. So, you know, change needs to come, but we're also in a situation where he essentially got rid of our assets. We don't have a lot of moves. You know, we can make moves with CJ, with Nurk. We're going to have to, because we're also coming into the repeater tax if we don't make some moves before the deadline. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't know exactly what the talk was in here before I got in here, but that's a little quick breakdown of it.
Hey, so I think everybody's pretty much said it all. I do think, Nat, I do think you're right. I do think that Dame needs some personal accountability, but I think to say that Neil O'Shea was good at his, you know, that did his job is an under a set. That's like, I mean, water's wet. I mean, Neil O'Shea did not do a good job. He did not say they lost LaMarcus Aldridge, they got McCollum, and then they just really never put. A lot of these conversations that we had a conversation on Saturday. Team construction is everything. You got to have balance. If Lillard's not going to be a solid point guard, you got to have strong wing defenders. If you got to be able to offset Lillard with some people that can score in the paint, can score in the mid range. And I just think if you look at Golden State, everybody thinks, oh, well, it's just Curry and he's just a good shooter and Thompson's a good shooter. No, they put together a team that fits, that has space, that can play a power. You can play a 6'8" power, 6'6" power forward who can move the ball, who's tough. And they really had center by committee. I mean, they've had Andrew Bogut and all kinds of different centers, JaVale McGee. So I think at the end of the day, that team is poorly constructed, and Lillard, if I'm Lillard, if whoever's coming in, I'm assuming the ownership is staying, I think it's still the same ownership. I think they just need to burn it all down.
I mean, to
Send
play
Lillard out,
devil's advocate,
send
though, Joe,
McCollum, huh?
To play devil's advocate, I mean, Yusuf Nurkic is a really good player, and him being hurt the last 3 years.
Not right now. He's not.
I know, but like the last couple
He's been
years,
solid.
like
Right
that's
now?
really hurt them.
But he's been injured a lot. Yeah.
Well, I
That's
mean,
really
this
hurt
year
them.
he's
The only thing
playing
that Dame's
well.
done wrong is be best friends with CJ McCollum. Because if he wasn't best
Exactly.
friends with CJ McCollum, he would have been traded a
Exactly.
while ago.
But
Also,
look,
Can I ask Dia a question real quick?
real quick, because Derek, we're not doing hands. We're just going. I would like to say Derek has to say because Derek, But I just want to say real quick, like for me, I do agree. The GM wasn't good or anything like that, But I wanted to touch on obviously the point of Dame not making players better. I don't believe that's Dame's play style. He's more of an ice guy. He's going to get his points, he's going to get his buckets, and you're going to watch. And hopefully, if you can, kind of, like I said, have a ring that can run the floor, you might be better. But Dame isn't. Dame at his best is not making nobody better.
He's one of the best. He's literally one of the best
That
playmakers
doesn't
in the
make sense
NBA,
though.
bro. What are you talking
Felix,
about?
Yeah,
if
it
they
doesn't make
It's not
consistently,
true.
Felix, if they consistently have a top offense, and last year CJ McCollum missed like 40 games.
But look at
Bro, there
Nurk.
was a
Look
starting
at what
lineup.
Nurk was when
CJ
Nurk
McCollum, who
came
can
to the
also give his
Blazers,
There
and
was
look
a
at
starting.
CJ
Melo.
McCollum missed 40
What
games.
Melo
How was he
Dylan,
balling
Listen,
last year?
when Gary
Dylan,
Trent was at the
what
two,
I'm saying is when Dame Lillard is at his best, you're not going to say, oh, Dame Lillard
Then what
had
I'm asking is that if they're a
15
top
assists.
offense off of Dame's ISO scoring, then the guy's got to be what, the best ISO scorer in NBA history?
this
Dylan,
is not true at all.
But
understand what we're
this
going
is
off
the
with the
thing
offensive.
though.
I understand what we're going off with the offensive bench. What I'm saying is, when I say better, I mean less than like getting guys involved. So I probably should have said it's getting
He
guys
averages
involved.
8
So
assists
he's averaging 8
to
assists.
3
You
I
turnovers
do realize
understand he's
that, right?
averaging
game.
8
We need
assists
to
a game,
watch
but
more
I'm saying
Damian
that
Lillard
plays
as a
out
Bro, y'all
community.
don't watch Dame play,
Yeah, we
bro.
need to watch more Damian Lillard as a community.
Phoenix, man. Listen, man. In order to be able to do what you're saying as far as making your other teammates better, you also have to not have to play hero ball every second of your life. And that's been his career in Portland, man. Come on.
My question is that how do you have a top offense but
Can
don't
I
make
I
finish
anybody
what I'm
literally
saying
better?
got
first? Dylan,
one
can I finish my
question
point?
for
Can I
Dia.
finish my point first? I'm trying to finish
Okay.
my point, okay? Because all I'm saying is I'm saying that also I think that also we haven't really necessarily had a chance to see that because there have been roster issues. I agree with the roster issues. I'm just saying for me, even in a perfect world, I just don't necessarily see Dame's ceiling as a championship team. So I think also we have to ask ourselves, what is his ceiling if everything is perfect? That is what I'm saying. And to me, even if everything is perfectly set for Dame Lillard and everything like that, I don't see that being a championship team in my personal opinion.
But
That's all I'm
bro,
saying.
he's a 30-plus-year-old guard that has never had the opportunity to even do what you're talking about.
He's
So
never
that's
even had a roster that suits
like,
his
come on, man. Like, that's an
strengths.
asinine
And
statement.
Listen,
when he did have a
this
roster,
this
when he did have a
roster
roster,
right
they
now,
did pretty fucking good.
This team has not one good point of attack defender. When you have a point guard, look how Atlanta built around Trae Young. When you have a bad defender at the point guard position, you have to surround him with length and with on
Exactly.
ball
Give
defenders.
him
We
one.
don't have
Exactly.
one
The Bulls
good point of
literally
attack
Give him
defender on the
one.
entire team.
The Bulls is a great example of what that
the
happened. They
Bulls
were like,
literally
"Yo,
picked up
Zach LaVine is ass
Caruso,
on
Ball,
defense."
and Javante Green all in the same offseason and went from like
Exactly.
mid of the pack defense to literally
So
top
is that
3 and
so?
everything.
So do you see that
Like
Bulls
this
team
is
as a championship
insane, bro.
contender?
Yes.
This
Yes,
is
we
insane.
do, bro. Listen,
Okay, this
Phoenix,
whole
we're
shit
talking about a
about how
second round
this
exit
whole
without
thing
our
about how
best
this one player is
perimeter
not a number
defender.
one on
So
a championship
yes,
team, like
I'm
Zach
not saying
LaVine
I'm not
and
saying it's number one
DeMar.
championship team. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying a number one on a championship team. You guys are making it seem like I'm saying he has to play hero ball. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying, for me, with the way the league is today, with the super teams that we got today, I get it, like maybe back in the day, but with the super teams that we got today on this planet that we have to realistically see, whether it's the Bucks, whether it's Golden State, whether it's
the Bucks aren't a super team,
the
bro.
Nets or anything like that. I'm saying, what, like, realistically, since y'all feel that Dame would be, who would you feel would be on Dame's squad that would make him a championship contender?
Literally anyone.
Bro. First of all, my problem with you saying that, Felix, is well, Eli just said the Bulls closer to a first round than a title team. He has fucking Alex Caruso as his profile
I
picture.
never said that. I
So
never said that.
well, no, that's what Eli just texted me. But
Oh, okay.
anyways, so my question to you about Dame might not be championship as a number one. So is the team just throwing like a white flag and be like,
Hey,
fuck
Pack
it,
and
let's not
Felix,
build
I
around this dude.
appreciate
Let's
you
just do what we're
No.
doing right
That's
now.
not at all what I'm saying. I literally started
hungry as
off by
hell.
saying I agree that
Hey,
their
packing my boy up
GM
though.
did a horrible job. I'm not saying that.
But what's
I'm
the
not
whole point of
saying
saying
Dame at
that? Like,
all.
I don't view
Their
him
GM
as
did a
a
terrible
number
job.
one.
But
Yeah,
that's
like
not
how
that
can
was
you
But
the
say
we're
that?
point
talking
though.
about a
You were
32-year-old.
Please,
We're talking about a
did that answer your
32-year-old.
question?
How can you say that about a guy that just averaged 30 and 8? Like you know what I'm saying? Like this is the thing. Like you're saying he's not a championship player on a
I'm
team
not.
that he literally averaged 30 for.
I'm not
No, that's
saying that.
not my question. I'm saying that, like, let's say you do believe that, right? What was the whole point of making that? Are you saying that, like, no matter what they do, they're not going to be a championship contender?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when
What the fuck?
we've had this conversation multiple times in the summertime, where we said, like, when we asked, like, okay, what could they have done to, like, the conclusion that we came to more times than one was like they
They
wouldn't,
on Felix
like,
ass, bro.
when we look at what the 10-year time
I'm
span that
just
Dame's been in the
listening.
league,
I'm
obviously,
chilling.
for me, realistic options, there
I'm
weren't many
chilling while I
realistic
eat.
options that they
Very
could have
hungry.
changed that would have made them be like, all right, this team has a chance to make it to the finals. That's what I am saying. I'm not saying in a perfect world,
Well, I'll say this: Paul
based off
George
of
was
history and
If
based
available.
you
off of what has
I
happened,
don't,
they
I
could
don't, I don't view it
Paul
like that
George
because
has
was
maybe
made
available
them
in
to the finals. I
2017.
don't see it.
Paul George was available in 2017, and all if they had
You mean
thrown
to tell me that
CJ.
Paul George and Dame Lillard are going to the finals?
Listen.
how?
If
Why would they not?
what
Again, can Nat please ask
Dame
a
and Paul
question
George
because
with
this
pieces
isn't
around
going
them can't
anywhere.
make the finals? You're telling me that,
With pieces around them? What pieces? The GM was trash. What pieces?
bro? This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. You're saying there was no move that was possible if you
Drew
2017.
Holiday?
Listen, if they throw CJ in the package, they had multiple first round picks. They could have got Paul George. You're telling me Dame and Paul George with a competent supporting cast can't be a contending
Where are
team?
you getting the competent
The
supporting
competent supporting
cast
cast is
if you
right there. Robert Covington and Nurkic both make $12 million. That gives you so much cap flexibility that's literally insane.
But Nurkic is always hurt. Dylan, come on.
That was before he was hurt.
That's the trying to make, bro.
Hey,
the
I
point,
quickly just want to provide some nuance here. And by the way, Dia, again, welcome to the locker room. As you can see, this is not. We embrace challenges, all this, all that. Here's how I feel. Right, I feel like people don't understand how hard it is to make players better, and I also think that people have a really weird, I would say, nuance about it. Their best roster was the year they went to the conference finals, and even then, the roster still had
that was
issues.
not. Oh man.
So
Okay.
That roster
Like,
was
Right.
actually kind of a mess
That was
construction
not
wise.
the
Like
best
if
But
you
roster.
but
looked at
look,
that on
no.
paper,
Wait.
you would not have.
I'm with
But
you.
that was
Dia.
the best that they performed.
That right? No. That is what I meant to say. Right? I'm not saying it's the best assembled roster. What I'm saying is that is the best that we've seen it from a success standpoint. And even then, seeing that, it still was not a well put together roster. It still could have been better, right? I'm saying that for a player like Dame, he has not had the requisite pieces, and in majority playoffs, he has won the series that they have been favorites to win. Yes, he's also had his flaws and his failures in certain moments, but ultimately, the team that's been placed around him from time to time just hasn't really been that great. So I understand both points of that. I don't think that's really hard to say, but the whole making your teammates better point, I feel like that's such a like base thing to
But
say that people don't really break in and I would say analyze. Dame absolutely makes players better. Absolutely does.
let me ask
So,
you this, Gifted.
so
Let,
can
let me
I?
say this. Let me say this
So
real
let
quick, real
me
quick.
go ahead.
Here, look, Dame gets probably besides Steph and like Harden when he was in Houston. I don't know who gets more defensive attention. He gets double teamed on almost every play. He gets blitzed on every pick. He gets picked up at 35 feet.
Yeah.
There's constant 4 on 3 advantages for the team. Constantly 4 on 3 advantages. They always sell out on him defensively. And this year, with how bad he's been playing, he still has a positive net rating because every time he's on the floor, he gets so much attention that the offense is still elite with him on the floor.
I want
So
you to think about that. They're the
it's
worst
just not
defense.
true.
They're the worst defense in the NBA, and the offense is so damn good that he's a positive net rating.
Every year.
Exactly. And the thing about Covington, if you watch
But
the Warriors,
y'all are doing cop outs though, because we already know that Damian Lillard is a bad defender.
Yep.
Okay, there's a lot we can go to a lot of guards that are just bad defenders. Come on, we know that
Well, PJ and
McCollum is
Dame
not a
hooping.
good defender. Okay, check,
Absolutely.
check, check. We got that. But then when you go and you actually look up the advanced stats for even Covington, right? That dude is a fucking fantastic
this
defender.
year he
Hold
hasn't
up.
been. But I mean,
But hold up. We talking about this year. He's been there for a little bit. Come on now. Like
he's not. But listen,
He's
but
Covington
been
is
hold on,
not.
let me
trash on
finish. But hold
Hey,
on,
hey, yo,
dog,
let
let,
you talk. Let her
oh
Go
my
talk.
ahead. Go ahead. Go
god,
ahead.
dog. Like I get what you're saying. I know pro
Yeah.
Dame. I get it. Dame don't do shit wrong. I get it. But my thing is, no one has explained to me still why somebody goes who's Robert Covington has been a good defender his whole
Because
fucking career.
because he's
Stop,
old. That's why
dog, dog,
he's breaking
dog.
Let
down.
her talk, and then I'll answer it.
go ahead. Go
Y'all
ahead.
got
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
like come on, we making excuses. We do this shit every day,
You want me
right?
to
We
answer?
shit
You want me to
on
answer?
people, and then we make excuses for people that we like. Let's keep it real.
Just
At the
like the
end of the
kid you put
day,
on the
it
line.
I'll answer your
makes
question.
no
I'll answer your question.
sense, dog. For real.
No, you asked about Covington. Covington
Yeah,
is
and
not
I'm
a.
not done. I haven't asked shit because I
All right,
can't
go
get it
ahead.
out, dog. Like God damn, dog. Like at the end of the day, nobody says how somebody goes. If your dog and Ben Simmons made sure that Covington got his 15 points, 14 points, or whatever. But we're shitting on Ben Simmons for some fucking reason every time. But then we go to a fucking Damian Lillard and we're looking at Covington. This man's down to damn near 6 points. But that's not Lillard's fault. The best player on the team, that's not his fault. But you can go to every other team and make up an excuse as to why they should be better and make other people better, but it's not up to Dame to make his team better.
Okay, so first of all, with the thing about the defense, Robert Covington is an elite help defender. He's not an on-ball stopper. They don't have one positive point of
One
attack
of his
defender.
pluses is that he's an on-ball
They don't
defender.
they don't have
Oh
one
my god.
positive point of attack defender on the roster. They have no resistance. They just let guys get penetration, get into the paint, and they're constantly in rotations. They give up wide open threes. Robert Covington cannot fix their defensive issues. He's not like that's why when you get
That wasn't my point that he
We
can
watched
fix it.
Robert
That wasn't
Covington
my
2 years
point.
That's
prior, right?
obvious.
Robert
Robert Covington.
Covington. No, Robert Covington was in Minnesota, and he covered up or he tried to cover up all of Karl Anthony Towns' defensive woes as a rim protector and a help
It's
defender.
spicy tonight,
He
y'all.
goes to Houston,
It is
and he
spicy.
damn near plays fucking center. And then he gets to Portland, and the front office is so inept, and the team sucks so much on the perimeter that Robert Covington, a 30-year-old forward who was a rim protector 2 years prior, is now forced to chase around Steph Curry
Great point.
Exactly.
on the
Great point.
fucking 3-point line.
And on the offensive thing, Robert, go watch if you watch the Warriors game the last time they played them, their entire game plan, they just blitzed and sold out on Dame and left him wide open for three the entire game. They just gave him wide open threes the whole game and he couldn't do shit. So he's
That's
getting
not his
open looks.
first of
He's
all.
getting open looks. He's
God.
getting wide
So,
open threes playing next to
it's
Dame.
another excuse. It's another excuse
How is
That's
that?
not an excuse. If
It's
he's
not an
getting open
excuse.
looks and he's
Excuse.
not
That's
scoring, that's not
He's
on
not.
Dame.
He
the
gets. He
Covington
gets.
team to knock
How is
down.
that on Dame if he's not
That's all
scoring and he's
right.
getting open?
All right. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it.
How does that make sense?
It makes
If
perfect.
he's
If that's not his game, then that makes
if
sense why
West
he's
not his
not
game, he's a
knocking
3 and
down
D
threes at
He's
the
a
player.
rate that
spot
he's
up
He's been a
shooter though.
three
doing.
and he's been a three
That's
and
his
D shooter his
game.
whole career. That's
That's
literally his type of play.
his
Nah,
offensive game is not
So
like he
so what?
doesn't do
Robert
much.
Covington is taking guys off the dribble
that's not.
and
That's
does
not
nothing.
illegal.
Like what are we saying?
You're turning it and you're moving the goalposts of what I'm saying. I
No,
literally asked you a simple question. I said, how does somebody go from averaging double digits to single digits both years and they get to Portland?
Because
because he's butt naked,
there's more
wide
offensive
open, and he's
options
not
ahead of him
scoring.
in
All
Portland.
right, so
That's
it's not
how.
Dame. That's what I asked you. Okay.
There's more offensive options in front of him, and he's probably not the same, not as good of a player. Like what?
He's
He's
getting
not.
older. Like he's not like
All of a sudden, he sucks. I get it. All right.
a young 3 and D
Can
wing.
I
He
can
might
I
need to take that
comment on
face
this
mask off.
because
Go
like
ahead.
the other thing that you have to take into account with this is
Beautiful,
there's been a
beautiful. Yeah, got
lot
it.
of stuff going on in behind the scenes of this team, and I think over the last couple years that Covington was one of those that it was like everybody needed to see change, and so this was like, well, hey, here's some change, and you put a guy that plays like Covington in a situation like this and expect that to be an end all, and it's not. Like, this is a broken team. This is a team that's
Right.
not
That's
functioning
right.
well together. And so you bring someone in who's good in another situation and who's good on another team, and you stick him in Portland, and yeah, he's going to have good games and he's going to do good things because he's a good player. But he's on a roster that doesn't fit him. Just the roster doesn't even fit itself. Like, it's gone to shit the last couple
That's
years. Like,
the best answer I got, Dia. Thank you. That's the best answer I got.
I think the reality is, and
That's
Diaz hitting
exactly what
it,
I said.
Nadas hitting it. You gotta Dame has to take some accountability
In what regard? Defensively?
wait,
as a
how'd you get
player.
that out of what I said,
Right,
Dia?
That's
like
not
what?
what she
That's
said.
Like
one
I
I
got
said,
my
the only
answer.
thing.
accountability
That's
he needs
not
to
what she
take is being
said.
best friends with CJ McCollum.
The
I
other
like
part of this is
What's up, Sean?
the team is poorly constructed, and not only that, who's going to get the most credit?
Who's gonna
What
get
you
the
said
most
that you
credit for
said
what?
the team was
Say that again.
self-destructing. You said it was
It is
Wait,
poorly constructed.
is it Dame's job to build the
anyway.
roster?
He's
Did I
not the
miss that
GM.
part of basketball 101?
No, those are two separate points. Those are two separate points. I said Dame has to have some accountability, and the team is poorly constructed. And at this point, you got to fish your cut bait, and I
I,
don't think that they have a chance.
I'm
Those are two
curious
different
what you
points.
mean by Dame taking accountability because the guy's like fought for his life for this team. He's tried, he's been there. He's on top of that, he's also been dealing with an injury for the last 3 years that he's barely spoken about that's continued to get re-injured. Like, the guy's doing what he can, but like, what is he supposed to, like, he's meeting with players, he's working with players, he's trying to encourage them, he's trying to, like, what do you expect him to do? Like, at some point there also has to be accountability. Like, Chauncey's big thing is preaching accountability, and yet every night after the games, he throws everybody else under the bus. Like, you're the coach, step up, get the best out of these guys. That's part of your job. Like, I'm not saying
I
that
agree.
that
She's spitting.
Dame's blameless. Like, he's essentially the leader as far as players go on that team. But I am saying, like, you also can't blame this on the best player who's fought to be here and fought to keep this together.
Who's kept the team afloat every year with an insane run to end the season, so we actually get seeding in the playoffs. Like,
I
literally,
do
if he
think
did
that
not
he's put
play
it
Yeah.
on
out
your
of his
shoulders.
mind, we would be an 8
I,
seed or worse every year.
Real quick, I like this conversation, but Sean was actually trying to get in. Sean, I want to give you that floor because you did get cut off. But y'all, I need every speaker up here to understand this is open panel. So what that means is there's gonna be moments where it's not pretty, but this is supposed to be open conversation. So try to have some guts and get in there where you can. But Sean, go ahead.
What's up, Sean? Shout out to my boy.
What up? Shout out to Dia. Like what you're doing with the trailcasters and everything. So big up to you. To me, I said this like 6 years ago, and I'll say it again. When your two best players are 6'2" and 6'3", you ain't winning shit. Period. End of story.
That's funny.
And I'm not saying that's Dame's fault or not Dame's fault, whatever. But when your two best players are 6'2" and 6'3", you are not winning the title. So it is a testament to how good Dame is that this team has actually got to a conference finals once. Now, is he blameless? No, because, you know, if you're the best player on a team that's terrible defensively and you don't really value defense, now you can go into the whole, well, he's the best player and this and the third, but like at the end of the day, if your two best players are that high, you're not winning anything. And unfortunately, if Neil O'Shea had realized this 4 years ago and traded CJ McCollum instead of treating all his draft picks like children, then they wouldn't be in this position. But they didn't, and here we are. That's it.
Yo, I'm gonna expand off of that real quick. Like you're telling me that Neil O'Shea couldn't have made a run or even attempted to get Paul George. He couldn't have attempted to get Drew Holiday. Like,
Do you
look
know
at the
anything about Neil O'Shea?
No,
Because the
Dylan,
man literally
Dylan.
treats
This
the draft
what's
picks like
crazy is
children.
no
He's
Paul
right.
George. They literally could have had him if they put CJ in the deal, but they
Well,
didn't put
I'm
CJ in the
slandering
deal.
Neil O'Shea. Hopefully, nobody took that the other way. Neil O'Shea is a
Yeah.
dumbass. Like I'm on the defensive Dame here, but look at a situation like Milwaukee, right? Like team construction is what kept the team from competing for 2 years because of an Eric Bledsoe. They replace him because the GM actually has the balls to make a run at Drew Holiday, and yeah, there was luck involved for them making that run. But at the end of the day, every luck has run, and if they
That's
just put a
true.
competent roster around Dame, he could have easily competed. Like, are we gonna say Giannis wasn't really good because he didn't win in 2019? He didn't win in 2020. Like, the same thing
You're
could have
essentially
happened.
agreeing with what we're saying, though. Like, Neil is
I've
the
been agreeing
problem,
with
that
you
the
the
No,
whole
roster
entire
is the
time. I
problem.
don't
Dylan,
know.
Now there's
please.
someone else in there who will hopefully make some changes and make some moves. Neil O'Shea is known for keeping his draft picks live. I've said over and over he would have rather built around CJ than built around Dame, which is just a ridiculous thing to do. But that's
No,
how he
Dia.
is. Yep.
But
He
no,
Yeah.
he
Dia,
drafted Dame,
Dylan.
but he wasn't responsible for that draft. That draft was already set to go by the time Neil was
Well,
hired, and he's always been more proud of the draft with CJ because it was his draft. He was not letting CJ go. So all these things came up. Neil wouldn't do it. We had an opportunity. I don't remember who it was last year. There was some ridiculous trade that came out that he didn't do, and it was insane. Like the man was just way too attached. So now we're in a situation where we have someone else who has the power, even in an interim, to make some changes, and hopefully we'll get some.
But no,
well, Dia,
Dia.
hopefully you
Dylan
know
is
that
agreeing
I'm the
with you.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
Dylan
agreeing
is
with you.
agreeing with you.
I'm also in defense of Dame. I don't know if I used the word wrongly. Maybe I don't know. I drank a little, but I'm very much in defense of Dame here. Like I just referred to Neil O'Shea as an FGM. So.
I
And the,
think with Sean's point too about the 6'2" and the 6'3" front court running mates, the problem also becomes if you're going to have that issue and you're not going to have those two guys also have length, right? So they're not defensive perimeter stoppers and they're also smaller. You need at that point a backcourt guy who can hedge and recover at an elite level. You can't just build your team around those two front court running mates that are smaller with not a ton of length and then expect your backcourt every time there's a blow by to cover up the problem or not allow defenders to finish at the rim. And Portland is consistently not addressed that kind of issue. You either have to get better in your front court defensively where you can stop play. Like Rudy Gobert
Damn, I
dealt with
muted
this
again.
all
Oh, I
last
was spitting.
postseason, right? They were blowing by
Yeah,
Well,
every
let
exactly.
me know,
front
Tino.
court defender, and then Rudy is stuck making a
I'll read the chat.
decision about to
Appreciate
to
you.
cover to cutter or to stick with his man. So it it's always team construction with Portland. It's been team construction for 5 years, and I think they're in the best position they've ever been in. I mean, between CJ and Norman, you have like $49 million free.
Covington too.
I don't
Yeah,
play
and
Fortnite,
like
but I've
there's
heard
so
about it. Is
much
it fire?
money to trade. You only have 5 guys, 6 guys under roster going into next season. Like they're in a great position, man. There's a lot of frustration
They
right
should
here
have
in
paid
this room.
They should have paid Nicholas Batum, honestly,
and,
like when they had the chance.
and the other
Yeah.
thing is, and the other issue is that Dame wants out, and he's too. Me and Nat have been on this. He don't want no smoke, so you don't want to say nothing. He wants out. Just leave, Dame.
Bro,
Just
that's a
leave.
fact.
No,
He wants
Yeah, I just
he's
disagree. I
look,
don't think he wants out.
Dame
when he
I don't
Dame
think
when that
so.
Chris Haynes article came out this summer, I was like, all right, I know what he's trying to do here because I was like,
okay.
I wonder who the sources for this are. Dia,
Nobody
your
would blame
thoughts?
him if he left. He's not gonna get
Yeah,
smoked, bro.
he's in a
Exactly.
Nobody's
position right
blaming
now
him.
where this summer he set it up essentially where if he gets to a point where he asks out, Blazers fans aren't going to be mad at him. They're going to understand, especially now with all this Olshey stuff happening. He's in a good position. So if he wants out, he'll get out. But I really, truly think that in this situation, he watched this happen with Giannis last year.
Very unexpected.
He watched him come to a small market team, be drafted there, and go on to win a championship with them. And he wants that. That's what he wants. This isn't about his teammates. It's not about specific teammates. It's not about a specific coach. It's not about a GM. It's not about any of that. It's about an organization that drafted him to a small market that he's loyal to and wants to win a ring with. And I don't think that it's anything more than that. And I think as long as he sees that as being a possibility, and as long as he's in a franchise that will work toward making that happen, which he wasn't, but now some things are changing and maybe that will happen, I think he's going to stick it out. Now, if things change in the next, this period of time right now is going to be very telling. If things change and go in the opposite direction, then yeah, he may ask out, and I think Portland fans will be with him in that case. But as of now, he's not going anywhere. He wants to be there.
Yeah. And the bad thing right
that
now.
Argument was finger licking.
The bad thing for Portland right now, well, not bad, but if they did want to trade Dame, right? You're at a point where, so he's too good. So nothing that you're going to get in return is you would win the trade. And also, he's too good to where the team that trades for him would give up too much to get him, and they would no longer be competitive, at least for that
Exactly,
season.
yeah.
So like that's not a situation that you'd want to be on either side.
I think you're going to take I would take the risk of just going into this offseason and presenting Dame with the same thing that they presented Giannis in Milwaukee, right? Which was like, let us get the team together and you have your choice. Like, you have your decision to make. They have a much better opportunity this offseason to make moves than they've had in 4 years, 5 years?
I feel like he gave them that decision every single year, though.
Yeah, but
the front office has been a
different
mess.
front office. Yeah.
They switched the GM. They just fired the GM.
And how much
correct me if I'm wrong, but Nurkic and Rocco and someone
Nurkic is up for
right.
Nurkic is up for.
They're both expiring.
They're both on $12 million, $12 million ish, and they're both expiring this season. So you could trade both of them at the deadline.
With
Boom,
CJ.
they're off. You could trade CJ, and then now you're literally it's Dame, and whatever's left, and you try and convince people to come there, or you take whatever you traded out of those guys and try and turn them into I mean, I can't think of a guy at the top of my head right now.
I want to build off that fastly, right? Because again, this actually ties back into the title of the space. I keep hearing Ben Simmons. He was a name that always floated around even before the season started. To me, I don't see much value in that move, only because the idea. Okay, Thrash, we understand you don't fuck with it. Let me. Okay. We understand that the idea of Ben Simmons is good, but you're talking about a guy that operates with the ball in his hand, and Dame also has the ball in his hands. So I don't really see that.
But so does CJ though.
Working. I mean, but not.
But Dame plays really well off the ball, and Ben Simmons isn't really a shooter. So we need. Here's the thing that we were saying.
But he's not going to draw a
season.
defender.
At the beginning of the season, we were talking about the fact that if they could maintain a decent offense and improve their defense at all, they would be drastically better. The problem is their offense got worse, and so did their defense, which was barely even possible. And so you've got a situation where if you trade for Ben Simmons, you may not get a shooter in him, but you're going to get better defense immediately. And Dame can play off ball. He actually does that well.
One of the best catch and shoot.
So that's actually not a bad idea. I would say after watching this team and looking at our options, I don't think you're going to get worse. Give it a shot.
Yeah, but so Dia, my question becomes, because this is what I was bringing up earlier today in a different space. If it's not Ben Simmons, don't you feel like the options widen themselves out if this isn't a time-sensitive matter? Like, of course, at this deadline, Ben Simmons is probably the best target that you have to make with a trade. But most of your trade pieces are going to be under contract.
Okay, that's dope.
Wait, what?
Oh, shit, my bad.
Most of your trade pieces are still under contract, right? So, like, why the time-sensitive nature of trying to improve the team? Is competing like a thing that internally is still there?
Because Dame's 32.
Well, there's no trade. There's no trade this deadline that puts us in championship contention. It's no point in enforcing.
And that's my point, right? So Dame can be 32, but you got to take the risk on him being better at 33 with different options. Like, I don't think Ben is the piece that takes you to the spot.
Hey, D, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, so you was talking about like the CJ McCollum with the Paul George stuff, and was that like? I mean, maybe I'm just living under a rock, but was that like reported at all that he turned that he turned down Paul George? Like,
Yeah,
and it,
no.
I,
So I'll answer
like
that.
I never heard.
Basically, he offered. So we had 2 first-round picks or 3 first-round picks that year. That was when we
This,
traded up for Zach Collins. So he offered those first and anyone on the roster except CJ. I'm pretty sure for Paul George. So
wow,
and that was when CJ just broke out. So if he had thrown CJ in the deal, he could have had Paul George.
wow,
Most
okay,
likely.
Neil reportedly has turned down he turned down a trade for Aaron Gordon, which this last offseason, which would
yeah,
have been
Wow.
big for us. Like and
Wow.
that one it was because it involved Anthony Simons, if I'm not mistaken. So
wow,
he was so attacked. Like the GM is essentially all that has been wrong with this team, and
yeah.
now they're going
I
to pick
never
up
knew.
the
Dylan,
pieces.
how many times have I said that we need to trade for Aaron Gordon?
Every
Yeah,
spaces.
no, I agree. Like my problem with the Dame for okay, one, and I'm gonna slander real quick. I'm probably gonna get yelled at for it, but it's whatever. So one, I don't know what Ben Simmons offers you more offensively than Robert Covington besides some passing. And two, I would much rather have the cap flexibility in the offseason than have Ben Simmons now putting my cap situation in basically the same position personally.
Okay, but the thing is, he would address like both point of attack defense. Like he would actually give you a elite point of attack defender, which they don't have, and he'd allow you to slide Powell to the 2, and then opened up minutes for Simons.
Yo, that's
And
really crazy that y'all said this shit about Neil. I had no idea it was this bad in terms of his GMing. I didn't know he was like that with draft picks, and I just don't feel like it was reported enough. Like I feel like it's kind of doing a disservice to the player.
Because he controlled the media. Neil controlled, and these are the things that are
Got,
coming out now after the
got,
fact. And I do
like the
media.
Portland
I
media.
cover the team, so I've seen bits and pieces of this. But like Neil, a lot of big time national even media. If you watch the narratives surrounding Neil Olshey, you can tell who was in his pocket, and he had a lot of control over the media.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's
and,
that.
and the thing is, like he wasn't like a horrible GM. He was like a really mediocre one. He
Yeah,
made like he made good moves around the edges. Like he made small moves that were solid, but he
but
was
like
just
yeah, like
conservative.
the
But
off season
like
moves
when
like
it comes to like the
it's
GM, also, oh, my
crazy.
fault.
No, it's all good, Felix. Go ahead. I'm about to drop down anyway. I just wanted to ask that question because that was nuts when I heard her say that, and I just couldn't
Yeah,
believe
bro.
that. But like that's like
Yeah,
I'm definitely gonna take
when it,
Portland perspective over mine for sure.
yeah. When it comes to that's why like also we gotta look at the organization. Um, for them to sit there and the only reason why he's gone is because of the conduct. That's why he's gone. It wasn't the conduct on top of no. It was like he got caught doing this. We let him go.
Well,
Like
I
personally, I
think it
mean,
was
the
an
performance
excuse
was
to some
bad enough.
extent to fire him for cause, though.
No,
So,
there was
you know.
legit conduct issues. He
Well,
did
yeah,
some
yeah,
really,
for
really
sure.
shady
Yeah,
stuff.
it
no,
And
yeah, no,
was.
I agree. I agree. That's my point. I'm saying like because I read the article because remember actually this is a topic that we need to talk about actually anyway. But there have been a lot of VPs or GMs
A
or
lot of them
owners
too.
who have
Crazy.
been getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar per se lately, but we'll talk about that later on. But correct me if I'm wrong. That was the reason why he was fired. It wasn't because of the personal decision. It wasn't
Yeah, true.
correct.
But what I'm
That's
because
saying
of
true.
is,
anything
That's
like that.
crazy
even
too.
It was
just
because
It's a good point.
he's been caught being an asshole for the past
That's a
10
good
years,
point.
They actually
and I'm
re-signed
saying
him
like
and
that
extended
reflects on
his
the
contract
organization
recently.
as
Like
well.
his contract was extended. He would have been
That's the
here
beauty
Right.
of
today.
playing in
I'm saying
Portland.
that reflects on the
That's the
Portland
beauty of playing in Portland, by the way. Like of being in Portland, like there's really no real media pressure.
Right. They don't
If you're
care. They don't care.
if you're in contention, like they're kind of like nice. I feel like that's a little bit like that too, like in Houston a little bit. Like these big, I kind of that's one of the things that I admire about like big market like teams is they'll throw you under the bus quick if you not producing. And like when you in a situation where it's like you helping them always be relevant or in the mix, like they are way nicer. Or it just could be Neil had people in his pocket, like Dia said. So who maybe it's a little bit of both or one more than the other.
So
I mean,
I
it's
honestly
literally. Go
just
ahead, go ahead.
I really want Dia to finish what she was getting on when she was challenging me because I need an insider's perspective on why there is this timetable to compete right now as opposed to trying to compete next year, mostly just because of Dylan's point where it's like, is the cap situation, is filling up your cap with Ben Simmons and Dame the best option for you to be in contention, or to explore all the options that you're going to get next year? And I'm heavy on that second one, but where, from your perspective, like why does it seem like the conversation is attack the deadline this year?
I think that the feeling of rush, I guess, of like hurry up and do something is coming a lot from the off season we had where Dame was like, hey, you need to do something. Or I'm not going to stick around, essentially. And I think that kind of lit a fire under everyone. I think everybody, like the fan base, started to panic a little bit. And I think that that's probably why you're sensing that. As far as the actual team, I think, it could go both ways. They could do nothing. They're going to have to do something before the deadline, or we're going to go into the repeaters tax. And I don't think that they're going to want to do that, especially for this roster. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
So I do think that there's some pressure to make some kind of a move or offload something, at least by that. But as far as making a trade, I think that there's a lot of the Portland fan base that just wants Ben Simmons and he's available. And so that's why you're getting that. But I don't necessarily think you're wrong. I think it's possible that they wait and they, maybe offload some people, get some kind of assets that they can use towards making a move for next season. I think that's possible. I think most people realistically at this point don't expect them to win a championship this year. But I do think that we're in that mode of we need to at least be pushing towards that.
Right. And the other thing is Dame they're reporting that he wants Ben Simmons. So if he wants him, you got to try to get him.
You don't have to try to get him. You don't. Like, that's not gonna. If you show, okay, look, we're the new management. I know you say you want Ben Simmons, but this is our plan. We got we're gonna target these 3 to 4 guys with our expirings. We want to try to get some picks, one or the other, and then just tell them, look, man, Ben Simmons is not going to
Great point.
give us what we need to get over the hump. So you can
But I
either,
think he will.
Dame's not an unreasonable person. He's proven
yeah,
that over and over again. Like he asked for change and they got Larry Nance Jr.
Cody
and Tony
Zeller.
Snell and he stuck around. So like
Yeah.
he's not unreasonable. If they go to him and say like, hey, this is what we're looking at, he's not going to be like, nope, it's not Ben Simmons. I'm out of here. Like you're not going to see that from him. So
right.
I don't think it's one of those things where you have to. But I do think that there's something to be said when you have a brand new rookie coach who's literally never head coached in his life, and you've got essentially now a new GM. I do think that there's something to be said about listening to Damian Lillard. I think you have to take that into account. Now, whether they actually end up acting on that or not, that's a totally different thing. But I do think it has to be. And again, this is all speculation. Dame hasn't said that. And Dame is someone who,
Right.
when he wants things out there, he comes out and says them. So
Yeah.
until you hear that come from Dame, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
And another thing is, when you have expirings, you kind of have to trade them at the deadline. So unless you're getting picks to flip in the offseason, you're gonna let those guys walk without getting anything for them if you
Right.
don't do anything. So
I
I
quickly
just came on your.
yeah, I
Can y'all hear me?
quickly yes we can, Felix. I quickly want to give
I
a
want to say
shout
something
out to
real
all I don't
quick.
need, oh shit, can you hear me? Hello? All right.
Yeah,
All right, you know
we
what?
can
I
hear.
feel fucking stupid. I'm gonna just mute. I just want to. Sorry about that. I just feel fucking stupid. I quickly want to give a shout out to all of the Portland people that came up to speak. I've known Thrash for like a super long time. Shervins, I want to give you a big shout out because I took a risk letting a player with a player Avi up, but you showed intelligence, and I really appreciate that. Because a lot of people with these Avies come in with biased stand up, but you broke down a lot of great basketball points. And I want to highlight that. I gave you a follow back. Make sure you guys are following all of the speakers up here, and I'm going to let Felix go. You can go ahead, Felix.
Yeah, I obviously agree. Usually when there's a player Abbey,
I feel
it's
fucking stupid.
nasty business. But I just want to say, Gifted, did y'all see what's his name? Big Drip or Nerdy and GB, and did he request?
I think Big
Cause
Drip did
he
request. It was a lot of
yeah,
people
cause he had
doing
my
it at one
DMs
time.
talking spicy, and I told him he got something to say. He can get in the locker room and say.
Oh.
What does talking
So
hefty like include?
DMs talk. I'm saying like he's like I'm like he
Y'all
basically
flirting?
he's I need to say right.
Or you just keep beating around the bush? What's going on
He's
here?
What's the subject?
Hey, I
Well,
have
apparently
Philly
this guy
perspective if
is
you guys want to
pissed.
hear it.
I'm gonna let half court go. I'm gonna be honest. That shit don't really matter. He's not here no more. It's okay.
Okay. All right. So I just got on here, and so I didn't hear if somebody already mentioned, but I've been saying this ever since the speculation started on going to Portland, since the summer. A lot of people don't like Ben Simmons, but he brings so much to a team. It's ridiculous. So for Portland, Dame would not have to run the point all the time. That's one. Two, is going to give you easier shots.
True.
Three, obviously his defense. Four, more rebounding. Five, Dame can get wide open shots because he can run off those screens and not just have the ball 24/7. He can do so many things for Portland that I'm telling you, a trade, as long as they don't have to give up too much with the trade, that would be a huge upgrade for them. Huge. And Chauncey Billups coaching Ben on top of that, he will respect.
I didn't think about that.
Ben will respect Chauncey.
Well, let me respond to all of that. A, what do you do in the playoffs to the hack-a-bid strategy? B, in the NBA, you can double off the ball now. So why would I stop doubling Dame just because he don't have the ball? C, it's 4-on-5 basketball with Ben. So, like, yeah, Ben is a good player. I don't think anybody arguing that Ben is not a good player.
I'm
Ben
arguing.
is Ben is not a championship player. There's no universe you can build a team that counts on Ben Simmons to have the ball in his hands and
But
win
you're
a
not
chip.
counting on him. You still got Dame. You still
The
got Dame to
thing
beat
about
Dame.
trading CJ for Ben though is if you
CJ for Ben.
trade CJ for Ben, well, okay, put it like this:
You
if
still
we
got the
can
young
trade
boys behind
CJ,
him.
if we can trade CJ for Ben and keep Anthony, then
Right.
okay, I'm with it.
Right.
But
That's my
most
point.
likely,
but y'all giving up the market, Ben
the thing
Simmons. Y'all know
is,
that.
what I've seen from reporting that trade, they actually have already made that offer, but Philly wanted CJ and Anthony and multiple picks and picks.
Or Little.
No, I'm not
They
giving up
said Anthony or Little.
I'm not giving the kid
Because
up if I'm
Anthony can step in and give you what CJ, to me, from what I've seen from him this year or where he's going, if not this year, by next year,
I'm not
he
giving
can
up
kind of
still
give you
got
what CJ's giving.
I'm not giving him up either.
He
Hell
can
no.
kind
Yeah,
of
I'm
give
not
you what
doing that.
CJ's giving
No,
you. So
I'm giving
I
up.
don't mind that.
I would
Boy,
give up
he did go
CJ,
crazy.
and
Damn.
you still
Rocco,
got
and like
Powell.
up to 2 firsts.
You have to be willing to give up literally everything except for Dame at this point. Like
Yeah.
you just do. If you want something to change, you have to be willing. You
Yeah,
can't
like
because this
that's what
is where
I'm
we
saying.
ended up in trouble. Neil wasn't willing to give up Anthony
Right.
either,
No.
and we ended
Yeah,
up
but
without
you
Aaron
can't
Gordon.
gut your team
But if you
either
give
if
up
you want to win.
CJ
But
and
but
Anthony,
also but
then
for if you're getting Ben
We need a
Simmons, you're
scorer.
gonna have to gut your team. There's no way you're gonna get Ben Simmons and not be able to give up players for him. That's
So
no way
Yeah.
that's happening. Philly's already
I
I didn't
funded.
say
also
I
kind
didn't
of
say
Come
don't
on,
give
like
up
have you seen
players.
what Philly
Hold on. If you have to gut your
asked for
team
Golden
for Ben
State?
Simmons, you don't want him. I promise you don't
Nah,
want
you
him.
shouldn't
Like
have
what
to
the
gut
fuck?
him.
You should have to gut your
Like
team
if
for
you
Ben
gotta gut, if
Simmons.
you have to gut for the
Exactly. You
caliber of
don't.
player Ben Simmons is, I promise you're better off looking somewhere else.
See,
I'm
but here's
also
the thing.
questioning the legit. Go ahead.
I'd
I
rather
think we're
give up.
overlooking
Give
the
up
point here.
future first, than give up Simons. Like I'd rather give up 1 or 2 first than give up Simons.
I'm with you on
I'm
that.
also questioning the legitimacy of half court's take
Portland would
here
be
because
much better
as a
served
76ers fan, if he
with a
thinks trading
package
Ben
that gets
Simmons
a
is going to
player
make
like
Portland a
Brandon
real
Brandon
well,
Ingram
I
All
can't.
or
right. I
Yeah, he
genuinely
can't
don't
hear you,
think
Tony, because Jay can't
I actually don't think Jay
hear
can hear
any
host.
host for some
I
reason, so
actually
he
don't
just
believe
kind
he
of
can
keeps
hear host.
I don't
talking.
think he can either.
Jay, I'm gonna move you down, but I'll let you know what you can't hear.
He
and
still
if he
can't hear you.
clips,
He still can't hear you.
That's
I think
funny.
we're missing the whole point here. Dame said he wants to play with Ben. I know somebody named Tobias Harris who we can swap for Damian Lillard and just wipe our hands of this whole thing. Yeah? All right, sounds good. Let's move on.
I'm gonna finish my
So
point real quick
yeah,
because
go ahead,
that's
Tony.
funny.
I question the legitimacy of half court takes because if Ben Simmons makes Portland such a contender, doesn't that mean that your finals hopes are dashed? So I don't
Well,
know.
100%. I don't want to trade him. He don't want to be here. It's totally different. I don't want to trade the kid, but he doesn't want to be here. So it's nothing you could do at a certain point. What I'm just going to have him sit on the sidelines the whole year? You got to make a move.
I heard the Spurs
Yo,
got a
half court.
bunch
I
of young
have a
guys
question
for
for
you.
you.
So
Yo,
On
half
a
court.
real note, I have it just quick. On a real note, I think that the Portland and Philadelphia, their outlook for the future is very similar. I don't think either of them want to make a move that puts them in a relatively similar spot as far as their ceiling. If the Sixers, as far as the way they see it, trade Ben for a non-All-Star caliber, a non-star caliber dude, they're a second-round exit still. If Portland trades CJ or whoever for not another, All-Star caliber dude, I'm assuming, and the things that they want to check off on their list of guys they want, I'm assuming they're thinking, yeah, what are we, a first-round exit at best? I just don't think either of them are comfortable with that lateral move.
Well, what are the Sixers going to do? Just let Ben Simmons sit on his couch?
They're going to be patient. They're going to be patient.
But no
They're
one's
gonna
going
be-
to.
that's what we've been
His trade
doing.
value is not going up. It's not going to go up.
How in my perspective, I just got finished watching this beat the Hornets where we was only down one person and Hornets half the team was down and we barely beat them. So adding CJ ain't gonna hurt us. That's for goddamn sure. That ain't gonna hurt.
No, but
That
it's
just give
not.
us
But it's
another
not.
They need a
force.
closer.
It's not taking them over the hump. It's
Yeah.
not giving Embiid a second dude to
I
win a
think
championship
And
with.
CJ does put them
it's
pretty
it's
damn
not
close
get
to a
it's
hump.
not getting us
So
to the finals, but it's not hurting our team either.
I
I
agree.
think CJ would be
It's
an
doing a
absolute
lot
great
better
I'm
than
sorry.
having Ben Simmons on the couch. That's for sure.
I'm sorry.
100%.
Half court said the Sixers title shot would be dashed right without Ben. The Sixers title shot this season is dashed anyway. I don't know what world you're living in. Like we could still win the title. The Sixers are not a title contender.
100%.
So I don't understand why we would move Ben in a rush to just become slightly more mediocre. So no, I have no interest in
All
CJ
right, so
McCollum. I've said this for months. I
so
don't
give
know
me
why
a
this is a
better
conversation.
trade scenario out of there, out of anything out there except for CJ.
The move is not there yet, so I'm not making a move. So you're just gonna hold on to him for like 2 years and not just have him sit on his couch?
But we can't
I don't think
ignore
it'll
how
be 2 years.
let's
It'll be
evaluate
2 years.
we can evaluate the landscape of the NBA every 6 months, and it changes on a regular basis drastically. So
Yeah.
be patient. That's
I
it.
think my problem
Do you think he'd
with
come
this,
back
right,
and play?
is you like if I'm Philadelphia, right, I have time to move him just because the longer his contract goes into, the more valuable it becomes. Because right now, people don't want to trade for 4 seasons of him. But if one season is stripped off of that, right, his contract becomes easier to sell to other people. Also, the idea of him becomes a bigger idea because you haven't seen him play basketball in such a long time. So a lot of those teams will think, okay, well, you know what? He hasn't played basketball in so long. Maybe he'll buy into a role, and maybe
he's
you
got to
guys
be
will
doing
trade him.
something in the gym for this year. He's
Right.
got to be doing something.
I can't see him sitting out the whole season. So I'm thinking he's coming back either way at
I
All
get that. I
Star
get
break,
that.
whether he's going to be traded or come back at All. I cannot see a 25-year-old sitting on the bench and sitting at home all year.
He loves money too
It's
much.
not going to happen.
Half court, I don't know, man. He likes playing Warzone a lot. New DLC, but a drop.
He does like
So I
Warzone.
want to say though, real quick though. So back to Dame for a minute. First off, Shams tweeted this out. That's coming straight from Rich Paul. That's Ben Simmons' camp that wants to be in Portland and wants this move. As Dia pointed out, and other Portland Trailblazers accounts in here have pointed out, Dame will make his presence known if he's really interested, and he has not done so. So I don't understand like the rush to get Ben Simmons. Dame Lillard wants Draymond Green. He has already played with him in the Olympics and He's has not already getting been Draymond beaten Green. by It's him.
Yeah, how the hell that's going to happen?
My point is Ben Simmons on paper is the closest thing to a Draymond Green you can get. And unfortunately for Dame and the Trailblazers, if they get Ben Simmons, on paper, yes, Simmons is Draymond Green, except if you strip away all the intangibles that make Draymond Green great. So best of luck, but Ben Simmons is not interested in competing and winning basketball. He hasn't been for some time. He'll boost your regular season numbers, and I guarantee he'll play better than he did in Philadelphia, but that does not help your title window. I'm sorry to tell
Can
you.
I
I
get
don't know
my
about
Can I
that.
get my input if you
I
don't
don't know
mind?
about that.
Yeah, sure can.
So
Sure
as
can. Go ahead.
as a fan of a team that's currently the 1 seed in the East, let's go Bulls. I'm here to push all the propaganda.
in all reality, being honest, like, and I know everybody's only here trying to talk about what possibly the Blazers could do or the directions. Even with the hypothetical of getting Ben for CJ and maybe another piece, I still don't see a winning direction, even with that combination. I honestly, I understand why the Blazers are so hesitant to blow it all up because in a conference where it's extremely hard to not only get talent, but also in a location where it's hard to attract free agents. It's extremely hard just to give up a super.
Let me ask you a quick question. You think trading CJ for Ben is a blow up?
Hmm? No. What do you mean? No. I say like, I'm just saying like the results of that trade is not as high as people are seeming. It's not
Okay.
gonna be like
Okay.
it's not gonna push them into the realm of
And then
contention
okay, but
at
look,
all.
if it doesn't work, then you have a 25-year-old all-star that you can just trade again. Like if they have to blow it up, they have another
No, I
asset.
think in the realm of it not working, you keep Ben, but you trade Dame. You're not gonna
Or you
trade
could do that.
Ben.
Exactly.
That's
It's better
true.
than having
Yeah.
like
That's
I don't
true.
know. So why is that a
Whoever
bad thing to
said
do that?
you trade Dame and you keep 25-year-old Ben, that's what you would do. You would add
I
Yeah.
feel.
Ben.
I'm sorry to all you
If you're
Portland
gonna blow
fans
it
who have
up,
to continue to
I
you
cover
go
the
the other
team
way.
I just have
but
a
when
but
that
that's
question,
happens.
but that's my whole thing. I don't
I
understand why
really am.
just not blow it up now while Dame's trade value is still
Because
high.
he doesn't
While
want to
CJ,
leave, bro.
No, he
it's
doesn't want to
just
leave there.
bro. I'm sick of this loyalty trend. I'm really sick
It's
of
not
Dame putting
loyalty. That's
everything on the
common. It's
line
just is what it
for
is.
a team that's gonna remain in mediocrity. They're teetering on they're on the 11th seed, about to go to the 12th seed, almost out of the
Cam.
playoffs.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah,
Okay, so
but
let's
we in
say
the first
hold on,
20
Cam. Let's say
games.
you trade him. Let's say you trade Dame to New York. What the fuck is the difference now?
To New York. Oh
The
no,
difference is
no,
what?
you
There's
get
lights and cameras now.
no, you get an
Yeah, we have to give
all-star
up half the
haul for
team.
Dame. You don't go.
Okay, but listen,
You get
listen.
an
Do you know
Anthony
What's the
Davis
difference
payout.
for Dame's situation in New York?
That's
He's
true.
better. He's better
How?
off.
What the fuck? How is he
How?
How is
better?
he better off?
How?
Alex
No.
Burks
no
making him
one
Okay,
better?
cheap
number one.
there
No.
in New York?
From a
You're
basketball
saying in New
perspective,
York.
how is
I
he
am
better
not
off in
saying.
New York with the trade
I
that New
am
York
not
has to
saying
make
New
for
You
him?
York.
would have
I'm
to
saying
trade half of the
anywhere
Knicks.
else that
You would have to
off.
trade
There
half
isn't
of the New
anywhere
York
else. There's only
Knicks
two
to
teams
get
with a
Dame.
You
package that even
you
somewhat makes
deplete
sense.
yourself of all your assets to trade
Right.
for Dame, and then you're not a contender anymore.
Right.
It's
Hundred
not that
percent.
easy.
What do
There's
you
only
mean?
two teams that somewhat make sense. It's Philly and New York, and then
And,
there's
and and on top of that, what does Portland want from New York? What do they have
And then
that they
listen, and
want?
then another thing is
I
people
don't
act
know
like
why we're just
people listen. People
putting
act
New
like
York as in a lock for like
people.
places that he could be traded in. I mainly see the main place being like Philly, like as the ideal place. You're gonna have to make a lot of things work out. You're
we're
gonna
about
have
to
to give up
argue
a lot
about
of
adding one
picks.
more team to already one team hand.
There's honestly nothing that the Knicks
People do not like Dame.
can truly give up.
So
That's
basically, what you guys are
comparable to
saying is
Dame's
Dame is
value.
saying I don't want to be traded, but the Blazers should say fuck you, Dame, for being loyal for 9 years. We're trading your
So
ass. Is that
here,
what you're saying?
right? So
Yeah.
listen, real
Oh
I'm
quick.
no.
sorry.
Not
What?
only they saying that, but they're saying, yo, we should trade Dame for someone who
I
fucking
think that
sucks.
everyone's making valid points
I
here, okay? And like, I think Dylan has an unhealthy hatred with Ben Simmons. I really do. That's kind of wild. Here's my
I
only
think
point,
it's
right?
I
healthy.
don't
It
think it's
seems to be a bit
unhealthy.
of a problem for him.
I think it's logical.
Wait a minute. I would like to actually finish my point off here. I think because of all these question marks we keep asking, that's why I'm really thinking the Ben Simmons trade is not going to be a straight up team to team trade. I think that's going to be like a trade that has multiple moving parts with multiple teams, strictly because there's so many question marks on what his true value is on top of how many people. He's going to have to be packaged with other teams in that type of play. That's what I would think.
Yeah, and I have a question also. Like, I'm just curious, especially like, I do believe that Dame wants to win. I don't necessarily believe Ben Simmons does. Like, not even because of what happened in Philly, but like going back to high school. Isn't that gonna be
And you got that
in
perspective from
person?
where?
If this does happen,
Ben
aren't
Simmons.
don't you
Ben
think
Simmons
that
had reports of his attitude, like
maybe a
thinking.
disconnect like there? Because
I live here. I don't know
I'm just
about
saying, like
reports.
Ben
So
Simmons
hold on. So in high
has
school, Dame sat out of games for not going to class. In college, his team sucked ass, and he also got in trouble for the same thing. Those are both levels of basketball where he didn't care about winning, and winners would like to win in high school. Winners want to win in college. Like that's a big fucking red flag.
Right.
I
So that's
seen like a report or
that's what
you're
I'm
just
something
saying
saying.
where
that Dame is
I'm,
Dame is just happy
that's
with
another
being
one. That's
the league's biggest superstar loser. He's just happy with
Ben,
that.
he's talking about Ben, not
Oh,
Dame.
no,
Ben.
yeah, like
Oh,
no,
I
hold on.
thought you
I
said
just want to get this
Dame.
off.
I would
Hold
never
on,
say
real
that
quick, real quick.
about Dame. Dame's not a fucking
He's talking about
No matter
Ben.
where we go, no, I'm saying no matter where we go in Ben Simmons' career, the question of his luck, there's been a question about whether he like wants to win or not, whether it's been high school, college, or wherever. Okay, there's been a question about that. So where there's smoke, there's fire, and I'm saying in the event that those questions come up again, obviously if he were to go to Portland, for me, I even if they could do it, I don't know if I would because I don't know if Ben Simmons wants to win, and Dame literally would get Ben because he wants to win, and so now that could be a disconnect also, and so now
But
you can end up in a situation where you got two guys you just traded for, and they're not working out because one don't give a fuck and the other does.
But at that point, then you have you could just if it all blows up in your face, you could trade Ben, and he has higher trade value than whatever you
I
have.
don't
So
know about that though
I think
because there's a reason why he hasn't been traded yet because
You
his
also
trade
you
value
also
is not
not
high.
making this move without Dame. You're talking to Dame before you're making this move. You're not just making this move without talking to him.
Yeah, hey, Dame wants, from all indications, he wants to play with Ben Simmons. So I mean, and Ben
and
Simmons wants to play with him.
and
So
this is a
I'm
really
sorry,
interesting
man. That's
question
one
because
report.
I think it's
I
interesting
don't know
how
about the
outside
report stuff.
fans look at
He liked
other
it. He liked
teams
a
and
post on
assess
Twitter
other
he
about it.
did like a
teams.
post on Twitter
Yeah,
too.
but it's a difference between
Can I
rumors
be heard?
and the actual person coming out and saying, I want to do this, want to do that. That would be very, very disrespectful for him to come out and say, I want Ben, and that would mean CJ would have to go, and CJ and him been there for what, 9 years,
Yeah, you can't
whatever.
say that.
You
Yes,
Can you
can't
guys
even
say
hear
that.
me?
So that's the big thing. So just because it's rumors, that don't mean it's true.
I mean, I don't
I
think he would
So
want
what about
to.
him
I
physically
also
using his
think
fingers
you
to
have
like a
to at
post?
some point understand that for these guys as well, they can have relationships and they can have friendships, but at the end of the day, this is a business. And he can be cool with CJ and he can be fine with CJ, but he can also want CJ on a different team so that he can win a championship.
That's very true. That's
I mean,
very
I just
true.
think he would look at it too, just logically from a basketball perspective. I mean, yeah, we can get that, we can get Ben, but don't make a stupid trade, and then now we have Ben, but we don't have anybody else to keep spacing, and then I'm
If
still just getting doubled, and then
but
Ben can't
But
score
if
either.
he gets
But that's
doubled,
what
then
I'm
he kick.
saying. If you're not
Listen,
giving up too much, then you still have your shooters like the
Simons.
kid y'all got from Toronto, and then you still got the young kid. That'll make up for CJ.
Yeah, Norman's still there. Yeah,
But
Right.
listen, if he gets trapped and he kicks it, he gets it to Ben, who has a 4-on-3 advantage. That's better than any help he's had against the trap his whole career. So I don't think that's a reason why he wouldn't want Ben because he gets
So
trapped more.
I
That
think
would
it's so
help.
interesting how outside fan bases look internally to other fan bases. And I remember covering Miami during the Michael Beasley era and just thinking to myself, damn, all I want is winning fucking basketball right now. For the Portland fans specifically, when you look at this Ben Simmons trade, do you just are you even considering like where your title contentions are, or do you just want like healthy winning basketball?
We just want something different that's not the same shit for the
I would just
last
like to
9
see a
years.
functional team around Dame, like a functional team, like where he doesn't have to give you 35 points and 10 assists for us to make a decent seeding in the playoffs and then get wiped out every year. Like, give us something to build on.
I don't know
That's all
how
I'm
he
saying.
hasn't been frustrated already and
No,
just
he
wanting
is.
out.
He
He
is
obviously
frustrated.
is. Yeah, he obviously is. I mean, the team is trash, and he's
Yeah.
literally carrying them every year. And then we come in here,
For
and the
nothing.
consensus is, oh, Dame needs to take accountability for this team not winning the championship. It's like, who's going to win a championship with that roster? Like,
Right.
who?
Exactly.
Yeah.
LeBron James is not coming in there and winning a championship with that roster. He's coming in there, and everybody's getting traded. That's a fact.
I
And
don't know.
Dia, for you
But
personally, like forget the temperature of the fan base. For you personally, as someone who has to cover this team, like where what do you want to see, right? Like going into
Yeah.
the deadline, what would you like to see from them?
I want to see Dame not leave because this gets a whole lot less fun if he's gone. Honestly, like we've been, I think with all the other stuff that's been going on, it's really easy to forget how injury prone the team has been for the last few years until just the last few games where we started having injuries again. And you go, oh, this is familiar. So I would really like to be in a situation where we have a team that actually works together, that's fun to watch, that maybe wins a lot of the time and isn't
what's
injured all the time. Like, I have pretty low standards at this point, to be honest.
what's the center that
Nurkic.
gets hurt and is out half the season almost every year?
That's
Nurkic.
Yeah, that's Nurk.
Yeah,
That was.
crazy, unbelievable.
I think another thing is they're always so quick to say, blow it up, rebuild, and they don't consider like markets like Sacramento and Detroit, and it's not easy to come out of a rebuild and just. It's not like people just assume that OKC's it's gonna work out for them. Like it's just
People also just assume that any team can just fucking draft a Damian Lillard. Like, it just
exactly
doesn't
you're
happen.
gonna rebuild. You're gonna blow it up and rebuild and get a bunch of picks for the next 10 years and pray you find a player as good as him that would
Like,
want to stay in Portland for 9 years.
you look at OKC, they literally drafted Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden,
And didn't win a
and
championship.
Ibaka. So literally every year, when they tried to make a move, their roster literally just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and they still had two All NBA players until KD left. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have a guy like Dame, but you can't get free agents to a team like Portland without a
Yeah, who wants to go
championship
there?
roster. Like, you know what I'm saying? It has to be a benefit for them type of guys to
So
come. And
so
when the roster is trash,
I think for
it's not
me,
attractive.
what I think about the Portland situation, and my feelings have changed over time. Um, I'm in the middle because initially I was like, trade Dame, blow the team up, rebuild. But then I thought about it, and I guess what the true question is Dame's durability moving forward, and how many years of, I would say, elite play you have left in him. Because to me, the feasible route would be opening up cap
What is he
space.
31?
I think he's 31.
Yeah.
I think he's
Okay.
31. So like oh, my bad, D. My bad, D. You go ahead. You go ahead real quick. That's fine.
So I was just going to say, at the end of the day, regardless of everything else, when you have Damian Lillard in Portland in a small market team, where exactly what you all just said about how it's hard to, you pray that you draft somebody like Damian Lillard to a small market team where they are loyal and they're good and they want to stay. When you have someone like that, you don't get rid of them unless they ask out. Like, you don't get rid of him at this point. And frankly, just from the perspective of, like, if we were to blow this up at this point, like, what the hell have the last 9 years been for? Like, why have we kept him in Portland all this time to just turn around and trade him when now we're in a situation where we can actually make moves because we got rid of the GM? Like, this is the kind of thing where you just don't. You keep him and you build around him. And one day in the fairly near future, he's not going to be playing anymore. And then you can rebuild.
And
There's
that brings
no
me to my
reason
point
we
right
need
there,
to do that
Dia.
right now.
That's my thing. Because I think what you have to look at is, I think the average basketball prime drops off at 30, but I think something significant is the changes to the technology in the way that players can take care of their bodies. So I think that people's games can actually grow and extend their careers longer. I'm a strong advocate that if Chris Paul can keep on going the way that he's going, and he's older than a lot of these dudes, I think Dame, Steph, all these other guys could potentially have longer years of elite play than people really believe. And if that's the case, if you have bad
Yeah, I
contracts that are
agree.
there right
I
now,
agree.
you can essentially wait it off. If Dame can wait for like maybe 3-4 years, which I know that shit sounds obviously depressing as hell, but I'm just saying, if it does happen and he does that, those contracts will come off the books, and then that flexibility that we're all talking about
Yeah.
will then be there.
I
I
was
also
just
think
getting
a
asked,
lot.
how many
I also
years does
think
he have left?
I
He
think
I
has
it's
also
I think
30.
it's until he's 35, so he
Yes.
has
Oh,
and his
yeah.
supermax kicks in this year, I
Yeah.
believe. So,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
but I also think that it's worth saying that a lot also rides on this injury that he's fighting.
Great point. Great
You
point.
know, if they haven't said what's going to happen, like, if he has to have some kind of surgery or something like that, especially to an abdominal issue, abdominal surgery is no joke, and the recovery time from that is long, and how you come out of that is going to be interesting. Like there's a lot that kind of lies in the balance here for him.
Also,
Are
Dia,
they
year from
thinking this
now,
is
it could be
sports
a different
media?
story.
Perfect, Dia. That brings me to my next question then, because if I'm the GM, this might not be the best thing to do, but this is what I'm gonna do. If I know Dame is hurt, I'm gonna sit him down for the season. I think that this is your best time to tank, get assets in this same year, and then Dame
Do
can
what the
come back
Warriors
reloaded.
did, huh?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could do
basically,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I would do that.
if
Do what
honestly,
the Spurs did,
I
do what
think
the
that's on
Spurs
the
did in
table.
'98 with
I
Robinson.
think they wait.
Again, though, we don't know where he's at with that. Maybe it's not
Right.
going to need
That's what I
that
agree.
hasn't been announced.
Hey, that's a
So
good point. That's a
I
good
If
think
point.
it's
I think they
significant,
wait.
then yeah.
I think they wait to see like like what goes on and then if it stays this way, I think they're like all right. But I think that's a good point.
Right.
My question also is like in the event the counter gift not counter but like add on to gift this point for me like in the event that like Dame does wait and the contracts do come off the books, I don't know if I trust Portland to make the right decisions. I don't know if I do.
Well, they have a different front office now, so it's not the same.
All right. I mean, like I said, I'm just saying like historically, Portland hasn't made the best.
well, historically, what? Because Neil's been there for 10 years. So if you're talking about
Yeah,
before
that's true. That's
that,
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but if that's the case, right? So you don't have a president or a general manager. Why would you do anything right now?
we have an interim general manager that has been with the team for 15 years and has the knowledge and ability to make moves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they trust them to do it though?
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise,
they
they
do.
wouldn't give him that ability in the interim.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can agree. I can agree with that.
So has Portland made bad decisions historically, or have they just been historically unlucky?
We have
Both.
the owner that they have right now is Jody Allen, and she inherited it from her brother's estate. Basically, her brother died; he was the
Paul
owner,
Allen.
and I mean, if you look at the Seahawks right now, same owner, same situation. They have Russell Wilson, who essentially could have been built around, but they didn't. They're a mediocre team. Like it, she just, in my opinion, really doesn't care that much.
She's trying to wait for expansion to sell the team, probably.
Hey, real quick, I just hit the mute button only because we are officially at the time where I cut off I cut off the YouTube live stream. We're 2 hours in. For everyone on the YouTube side, I appreciate you guys for sticking in there for 2 hours. We're gonna keep the spaces going, but that's gonna be the end of this. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, Tuesday, again, 8:30 for another locker room. Shout out to Dia. Shout out to all the Portland fans that came up and talked. We needed this type of space for those types of fans. We like to have actual basketball conversations. Like I will literally do a 2 hour space on Minnesota and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I love basketball, so we're gonna keep this conversation going. But for the YouTube side of things, I don't want it to drag out to 3 or 4 hours. So I'm gonna end the stream, but I appreciate all y'all for coming through. Also, if there's anyone down low who can't hear the whole conversation, feel free to check out this particular episode on my YouTube. It'll be Dame's whole face on this. He'll be able to find it. But yeah, peace out, everybody. As far as the panel, we can continue with